Dr. Sean Bryant stares at the ancient control interface inside the secured research facility beneath New Washington, D.C., watching as yet another Jem'Hadar specialist fails to activate the dormant fleet of mechanical armor suits. The warrior's scaled hands pass ineffectively over the crystalline control surfaces, while Commander Lena, their delegation leader, clicks her teeth in mounting frustration. The massive underground hangar on Mars, where they discovered the 50,000-year-old suits, remains a point of intense diplomatic tension. Through the reinforced observation windows, row upon row of towering battle armor stretches into darkness, their metallic surfaces still pristine despite millennia of waiting. Each suit stands 3 times human height, bristling with weapon ports and defensive systems that surpass anything currently fielded by Earth or the Jem'Hadar. "Your attempts are pointless," Commander Lena says, her ridge-lined face contorting. As the rare female among the warrior species leadership and chief military advisor to their High Council, her presence underscores the importance they place on claiming these relics. "This technology belongs to our ancestors. Your interference violates our hereditary rights." Dr. Bryant checks the latest genetic analysis results on his tablet, pulse quickening. The data contradicts everything the Jem'Hadar have claimed. The control interface's neural patterns align with human brain structure, specifically human female brain structure. More than that, the genetic markers they've isolated as activation keys appear exclusively in human DNA. The implications send his mind racing. These suits weren't left by Jem'Hadar predecessors at all. The extinct precursor race had a direct connection to humanity, not to the scaled warriors currently threatening Earth's government with military action if they don't hand over the facility. A security detail stands ready as Commander Lena stalks closer to the control interface, her clawed hand resting on her ceremonial blade. This delay cannot continue. The High Council's patience grows thin. Dr. Bryant knows they're running out of time. With each failed activation attempt, the Jem'Hadar delegation becomes more aggressive. Earth's military leadership recognizes that control of this ancient armor fleet could reshape the balance of power throughout known space. If the Jem'Hadar discover that their claimed birthright is fraudulent, the diplomatic crisis could explode into open conflict. He glances at his research notes, mind working furiously. Somewhere in this facility's depths lies the key to unlocking these ancient weapons and perhaps humanity's own mysterious origins. But with Jem'Hadar warriors breathing down his neck and Earth's security hanging in the balance, he'll have to move quickly to uncover the truth about humanity's unexpected connection to this advanced precursor civilization. Dr. Bryant's fingers flew across his tablet, pulling up the personnel database. "Get me Dr. Sarah Miller from the EDF Research Division," he said to his assistant. "Her neurological expertise might be exactly what we need." Commander Lena's scaled hand tightened on her blade. "Another delay tactic." "A specialist who can help us understand why the interface responds to specific neural patterns," Bryant explained, careful to keep his voice neutral. He didn't mention the genetic analysis results still displayed on his screen. Within hours, Dr. Sarah Miller arrived at the facility, her military-issue boots clicking against the polished floor as she approached the control interface. The 28-year-old neurologist's eyes widened at the sight of the towering suits beyond the observation window. "The neural patterns are unlike anything I've seen," she said, studying the readouts. "But there's something familiar about the base structure." She placed her hand on the crystalline surface. The interface hummed, emitting a soft blue glow that hadn't appeared during any of the Jem'Hadar attempts. Commander Lena stepped forward, ridge scales flexing. "What did you do?" "Nothing yet," Miller responded, but her eyes remained fixed on the display. "The interface responds to emotional states. It's not just about genetic compatibility, it requires specific brainwave patterns." A security alert flashed across Bryant's tablet. Major James Harrison, the facility's military liaison, entered the room with his eyes hardened. Dr. Bryant, a moment. In the corridor, Harrison showed him the intercepted communications. A Jem'Hadar battle fleet just entered the Kuiper Belt. They're calling it a peaceful negotiation force. How many ships? Enough to overwhelm our orbital defense grid. Bryant wiped his forehead. Earth Security Council. They've authorized accelerated testing. Lieutenant Emma Cooper is en route, decorated combat pilot, age 25. If anyone can interface with these suits. Back in the control room, Dr. Miller had accessed one of the smaller armor units. Lieutenant Cooper arrived minutes later, her flight suit already equipped with neural sensors. The young pilot approached the armor with measured steps, while Commander Lena watched with barely concealed hostility. "Interface protocols ready," Miller announced. "Lieutenant, remember, don't force it. Let your mind settle into the patterns we discussed." Cooper placed her hand on the armor's access panel. The entire suit illuminated, panels shifting and realigning. A holographic display materialized, filling the air with streams of ancient data. "It's communicating with me," Cooper whispered. "There's an AI presence like nothing I've ever." The suit's chest plate split open, revealing an intricate pilot chamber. Bryant's tablet chimed. New data poured in, correlating with the genetic markers they'd isolated earlier. "These suits weren't abandoned here," he said, voice hushed. "They were left specifically for us. The precursors engineered them for human female operators." Commander Lena snatched the tablet from his hands, scales pale as she read the display. Her hand trembled when she reached the section about her own genetic profile. "This is impossible," she hissed, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her uncertainty. Cooper stepped into the pilot chamber. Neural interfaces extended, connecting with her flight suit. The armor sealed around her as displays came alive, revealing capabilities that defied current technological understanding. "FTL drive systems detecting," Miller read from her instruments. "Quantum weapons array, shield harmonics. This goes beyond anything in our theoretical models." A priority alert flashed through the facility. The Jem'Hadar fleet had crossed Saturn's orbit. Commander Lena stared at the ancient suits, her clawed hand no longer resting on her blade. In her eyes, Bryant saw the first glimpse of doubt about everything her species had believed about their origins. The armor holding Lieutenant Cooper hummed with increasing power. Light rippled across its surface as systems awakened after 50,000 years of waiting. They were out of time for careful testing. Earth's survival might depend on what happened in the next few hours. The activation sequence progressed smoothly until warning klaxons erupted through the facility. Red emergency lights cast harsh shadows across the control room as security alerts flashed across every screen. "Multiple perimeter breaches detected," Major Harrison announced, checking the tactical display. 3 squads of Jem'Hadar warriors entering through maintenance shafts. Commander Lena's scales darkened with rage. "Kothvar's zealots, they defy my direct authority." "Initiating lockdown protocols," Dr. Bryant said, entering commands that sealed the blast doors around the research chamber. Through the reinforced windows, the rows of dormant armor suits stretched into darkness, silent witnesses to the unfolding crisis. Inside her active suit, Lieutenant Cooper's neural reading spiked. The armor responded instantly, energy fields crackling to life across its surface. "Dr. Miller, these readings, your adrenaline surge is amplifying the neural connection," Miller said, eyes fixed on her instruments. "The suit's responding to your heightened state." Weapons fire echoed through the corridors outside. Major Harrison coordinated with security teams through his comm unit, while Commander Lena accessed a secure channel to the approaching fleet. "This is Commander Lena to Fleet Command. Radical elements under War Chief Kothvar have breached Earth facility protocols, requesting immediate intervention." The armor surrounding Cooper shifted, plates realigning as new systems activated. Holographic displays materialized around her, showing tactical overlays and power readings that exceeded anything in the research team's previous scans. Neural synchronization at 87% and climbing, Miller reported. The suit's AI is a massive explosion rocked the outer doors. Through the smoke, scaled warriors in combat gear emerged, weapons raised. Commander Lena stepped forward, positioning herself between the intruders and the research team. "Stand down," she ordered. "You violate our most sacred protocols." "The protocols are built on lies," the lead warrior snarled. "Better to destroy this facility than watch humans claim our birthright." The warrior raised his rifle, but Cooper moved faster. The armor responded to her thoughts with devastating precision. An energy barrier materialized, deflecting the incoming fire. The suit's weapon ports opened, revealing systems that defied current technological understanding. "Dr. Bryant," Cooper called out, her voice altered by the armor's external speakers. "Something's happening, I'm seeing. Memories, a war, the precursors." Data streamed across Bryant's monitors as the suit's AI interfaced with Cooper's neural patterns. The armor's sharing archived data. The precursors were fighting something. Something that forced them to. More explosions rocked the facility. Through the chaos, the other suits began to power up, their dormant systems responding to some hidden signal. Energy readings surged across the facility's power grid. "They're activating," Miller said. "All of them. The power requirements are astronomical." Cooper's armor moved with fluid grace as she engaged the hostile warriors. The suit's defensive systems neutralized their weapons while Commander Lena and facility security contained the threat. Through it all, ancient memories continued flooding Cooper's neural interface. "They knew it might come back," Cooper transmitted, her voice tight with the strain of processing alien memories. "The precursors, they didn't just leave these suits as a gift. They're a warning system, an alert for." She gasped as another wave of memories hit. Something still out there. Something they couldn't stop. The facility's lights flickered as more suits powered up, each one scanning for compatible operators. Dr. Bryant watched the energy readings climb toward critical levels, knowing they'd crossed a threshold that couldn't be reversed. Humanity's inheritance was awakening, carrying both ancient knowledge and an ancient warning. Through the observation windows, rows of massive armor suits illuminated one by one, their activation sequences cascading into darkness like a wave of awakening giants. The age of dormancy was over. The question now was whether humanity could master this inheritance in time to face whatever threat the precursors had failed to defeat. Commander Lena received confirmation from her fleet loyal elements were moving to contain Kothvar's faction. But as Cooper processed more precursor memories through her neural interface, it became clear that internal political conflicts were the least of their concerns. Something far more ancient and deadly lurked in the depths of space, and humanity's window to prepare for its return was rapidly closing. Closing rapidly. Warning indicators flashed across Bryant's screens as unauthorized access attempts bombarded the quantum mainframe housing the armor control systems. "We have intrusion attempts across all secured channels," announced Chief Technical Officer Marcus Wung, his fingers flying across multiple keyboards. "This isn't Jem'Hadar code. The attack patterns are orders of magnitude more sophisticated." Commander Lena stepped closer to Wung's station, her scales shifting color as she studied the intrusion patterns. "These signatures. We've seen them before. 3 months ago, similar attacks hit our deep space listening posts. Our best cyber warfare units couldn't even trace them." Cooper's vitals spiked on Dr. Miller's medical displays. The young pilot's heart rate accelerated dangerously as the neural interface deepened its connection. "Her synaptic patterns are rewriting themselves," Miller reported, adjusting sensor parameters. "The AI is actively modifying its architecture to match human neural structures." "Lieutenant, we need to terminate the sync," Bryant called out. "Negative." Cooper's voice emerged strained through the armor's speakers. "The interface is showing me something. Defense protocols override systems. We'll need them." The facility's main power grid failed with a deep thrumming sound. Emergency lighting cast red shadows across the ancient armor suits as backup generators engaged with a stuttering whine. "Power distribution critical," Major Harrison announced. "We can maintain either facility defenses or continue the armor synchronization. Not both." Bryant input the commands to redirect all remaining power to Cooper's suit. The other chambers went dark as energy consolidated around her position. Wang's screens flickered as cyber defenses dropped to minimal levels. The attack ceased abruptly. In the sudden silence, a new sound emerged, a high-pitched whine of advanced cutting tools boring through the facility's outer walls. The distinct impacts of mechanical limbs echoed through the corridors. "Multiple breaches detected," Harrison reported. "Unknown contacts entering through." His voice trailed off as the tactical display showed security teams and rogue Jem'Hadar alike dropping unconscious before an advancing mechanical force. Lena inhaled sharply at the camera feed, showing quadrupedal robotic units moving with precise, predatory grace. "Harvesters. They match our oldest historical records, the Deathbringers that haunted the edges of known space. The neural interface is responding to their presence," Cooper transmitted. "These suits weren't just for combat, they were designed to hack and control the Harvester units. Turn them against their masters." The mechanical sounds grew closer. Through the observation windows, Miller tracked the Harvesters' methodical advance. Their electromagnetic weapons discharged with precise bursts, dropping anyone in their path without killing them. The armor activation sent out a signal, Bryant realized, correlating data streams. It wasn't just waking up dormant technology, it was triggering a beacon. Cooper's armor hummed with increasing power as new systems activated. Holographic interfaces expanded around her, displaying tactical overlays of the approaching Harvesters. The suit's AI fed combat protocols directly into her neural pathways as the mechanical units reached the outer doors of the research chamber. "Interface stability at critical threshold," Miller warned, watching Cooper's neural patterns spiral into unknown configurations. "The armor's rewriting itself to match her biology, but the strain—" "Almost there," Cooper gasped. "The command protocols are unlocking. I can see how they work. How to break into their systems." The research chamber's reinforced doors began to glow as the Harvester's cutting tools engaged. Through the spreading molten metal, their sensor arrays became visible ancient machines awakening to reclaim or destroy the technology that once opposed them. Inside her armor, Cooper's neural synchronization reached its peak. The suit systems revealed their full capabilities as the first Harvester breached the chamber threshold. The fate of two species now rested on whether she could master these ancient weapons in time to face the mechanical threat that had driven their creators to extinction. Extinction. Cooper felt her consciousness expand as the neural interface stabilized, the initial disorientation giving way to crystal clarity. The flood of tactical data integrated seamlessly with her own combat training. "Neural patterns stabilizing," Miller announced, relief evident in her voice. "Vitals returning to baseline." The first Harvester unit stepped through the molten breach, its quadrupedal frame moving with mechanical precision. Cooper raised her arm, and the armor responded instantly. Energy fields rippled across the suit's surface as tactical displays highlighted vulnerable points in the machine's construction. "Multiple contacts, parallel corridors," Harrison reported. "They're herding security teams toward the main storage hangar." Dr. Romano studied the tactical feeds, his eyes narrowing. "These aren't random attack patterns. Look at their positioning, they're creating a deliberate convergence point." Commander Lena demonstrated the truth of her warrior lineage, moving with lethal grace as she engaged the nearest Harvester. Her scaled hands found gaps in the machine's armor that no human could have identified, temporarily disabling its locomotion systems. The quantum cores, Cooper transmitted, processing the stream of precursor data. They're running on stolen technology, the same base architecture as these suits. The facility's deep space monitoring system activated, new alerts flashing across Bryant's screens. Additional vessels entering atmosphere, cloaked signatures matching harvester configurations. Different command protocols, Romano observed, analyzing the transmission patterns. These new ships aren't synchronized with the ground units. Commander Lena reached into a hidden compartment in her combat gear, withdrawing a device that pulsed with ancient energy. Our mothers passed this down through generations, never knowing its true purpose. The device resonated with both the armor suits and the advancing harvesters, creating interference patterns in the facility's sensor grid. "That's a command interface," Bryant said, scanning the energy signature. "It could bridge our systems with Jem'Hadar control protocols." Miller grabbed her console as a wave of resonance swept through her consciousness. Around the chamber, other female personnel showed similar reactions. "The neural interfaces are reaching out," she gasped, "looking for compatible operators." Cooper's armor systems highlighted the quantum cores in each harvester unit, revealing subsystem vulnerabilities. The precursor memories showed her how they designed their armor to capture and reprogram the stolen technology, turning the machines against their masters. "Orbital Command reports Jem'Hadar fleet elements engaged in combat," Harrison said, monitoring tactical feeds. "Admiral Cordell's loyalists versus Kothvar's extremists. We have a temporary window before either side can land reinforcements." "Rerouting remaining power to primary synchronization chamber," Wang announced. "We can activate 3 additional suits without compromising critical systems." Miller unstrapped her medical sensors. "I'm showing strongest resonance patterns in myself and technicians Chen and Rodriguez. We're the most compatible candidates for immediate activation." The harvesters pressed their advance, herding the remaining security teams back. Their electromagnetic weapons discharged with surgical precision, incapacitating without killing. Commander Lena's ancient device pulsed stronger, interfacing with the facility's systems. "The precursors didn't just give us weapons," Cooper transmitted, processing more tactical data. "They created a system that would force our species to cooperate. The armor needs both human neural patterns and Jem'Hadar command protocols to reach full combat potential." The device in Lena's hands synchronized with Cooper's armor, unlocking new tactical overlays. The quantum cores in the harvester units pulsed in response, their command systems momentarily vulnerable to override attempts. "Begin emergency activation sequence," Bryant ordered as Miller and the other candidates moved toward the remaining powered suits. "Harrison, coordinate with Orbital Command. We need real-time updates on that fleet engagement." Cooper's armor highlighted the approaching harvester units, marking optimal attack vectors and system vulnerabilities. Through the neural interface, she felt the other suits powering up, reaching out for compatible operators. The precursor technology was awakening, preparing for a confrontation 50,000 years in the making. Through the facility's sensors, multiple contacts descended through Earth's atmosphere. The cloaked harvester vessels followed different command protocols, their intentions unclear. As Miller and the others initiated their synchronization sequences, Cooper's tactical displays identified the critical moment approaching when mankind's inheritance would face its first true test. "Multiple resonance signatures detected," Wang called out, his eyes scanning rapidly across the sensor displays. 4 additional personnel showing compatibility patterns. "Doctor." Sarah Miller stumbled as the wave of neural feedback intensified. Her medical sensors, still attached to Cooper's monitoring station, registered similar responses from 3 other female staff members scattered throughout the facility. "Dr. Chen in engineering," Harrison said, marking positions on the tactical display. Rodriguez from quantum analysis, Peters from advanced materials, all showing strong neural responses. Cooper's armor systems highlighted the new signatures, confirming the compatibility readings. Through her enhanced perception, she detected subtle variations in the resonance patterns. Dr. Miller's signature pulsed strongest, approaching the threshold that had allowed Cooper's own successful synchronization. "Evacuate all non-essential personnel," Harrison ordered, gesturing to the security teams. "Establish a defensive perimeter around potential operators, priority protection protocols." Dr. Marcus Miller rushed into the chamber, clutching fragments of disabled harvester components. The materials specialist's weathered hands traced patterns across the alien alloys. The quantum cores they're utilizing a metastable configuration. These frequency readings match harmonics from the armor power systems. Cooper's tactical display immediately processed the new data, highlighting vulnerable points in the advancing harvester units. "Confirmed. Their cores resonate at frequencies we can target. Dr. Miller, I need exact specifications." Commander Lena moved toward Dr. Sarah Miller, the ancient device pulsing brighter in her scaled hands. As she approached, holographic interfaces erupted from its surface, projecting a three-dimensional map of the solar system. 17 points of light flickered across planets and moons, marking hidden caches of precursor technology. "Additional armor units," Lena breathed, her scales shifting to deep blue, waiting for compatible operators. The facility's lighting surged, previously dark sections blazing to life. Wang's screens filled with cascading data as power readings spiked across all systems. Energy signature detected below the facility. These readings. This isn't our infrastructure. "The whole complex," Bryant said, correlating the sensor data. "It's built on precursor foundations." Cooper's activation triggered dormant systems. Through her neural interface, Cooper perceived the expanding network of ancient technology. The armor wasn't just a weapon, it was a control node, designed to interface with vast defensive systems hidden beneath Earth's surface. A secure quantum channel opened, displaying Admiral Cordell's tactical feed. The moderate Jem'Hadar commander's forces had contained the extremist fleet, but new contacts approached from the Kuiper Belt. "Lieutenant Cooper, additional harvester vessels detected. Their search pattern suggests systematic sweep protocols." Dr. Romano's analysis algorithms decoded behavioral patterns from the attacking units. "These machines are running ancient search protocols. The non-lethal weapons, the capture attempts, they're looking for specific genetic markers." "Markers that evolved," Cooper transmitted, processing the data through her neural interface. "They're searching for something that existed in humanity's genetic ancestors." The facility's deep-ground sensors blared new warnings. Wang's screens showed harvester units breaching lower levels, employing different tactical approaches than the surface forces. "Multiple command structures," Bryant observed. "Different mission parameters." The ancient systems beneath the facility continued their activation sequence. Cooper's armor interfaced with newly awakened defensive grids, revealing the true scope of the precursor installation. Through her neural link, she recognized its purpose: a command center, designed to coordinate human forces against massive harvester incursions. "Earth Defense Command confirms deployment of Farden units," Harrison reported. "Moving to secure cache locations. Admiral Cordell's forces will provide orbital support against extremist interference." Dr. Miller steadied herself against a console as her neural resonance intensified. Around her, the other compatible operators experienced similar effects as the precursor systems reached out, preparing for mass activation. Ancient protocols awakened, recognizing the presence of genetic markers their creators had seeded into humanity's ancestral past. Cooper's tactical displays tracked multiple threats: surface harvesters, deep facility infiltrators, orbital engagement, and the approaching vessels from the outer system. The precursor base pulsed with increasing power as its systems online, ready to fulfill its purpose after 50 millennia of waiting. Through her armor's enhanced sensors, Cooper detected distinct energy signatures from the competing Harvester forces. Each faction operated under different prime directives, creating a complex tactical environment. The non-lethal surface units continued their methodical advance, while their deep facility counterparts employed more aggressive protocols. Multiple breach points in lower sectors, Harrison announced. Unknown Harvester variants advancing toward primary power distribution nodes. Cooper's tactical displays tracked the deep facility Harvester's advance when her armor's neural interface suddenly expanded, connecting to previously dormant defense systems throughout the complex. Ancient weapon emplacements emerged from recess panels, targeting the hostile machines with precise energy pulses that disrupted their quantum cores. Multiple defense grids activating, Wang called out, his fingers flying across holographic controls that materialized from previously blank walls. These systems, they're orders of magnitude beyond our technology. All personnel fall back to sublevel 12, Harrison ordered through the tactical network. Security teams establish defensive positions using precursor weapon systems. The research team descended through newly revealed access points, entering a vast circular chamber filled with pooling crystalline structures. Holographic displays covered the walls, showing real-time data from defense installations across the solar system. Dr. Miller's medical sensors registered escalating neural activity as she approached one of the inactive armor suits. The resonance is stronger here, like the systems are reaching out. Controlled synchronization is our priority, Bryant said, establishing monitoring stations around the chosen armor unit. Dr. Miller, prepare for interface initialization. Commander Lena placed her ancient device into a receptacle that rose from the chamber floor. Energy patterns rippled across its surface, projecting a detailed genetic analysis of both human and Jem'Hadar DNA sequences. By the ancestors, she whispered, scales shifting to pale gold as data streams confirmed a truth hidden for millennia. We were created to protect humanity, our entire species. Admiral Cordell's image appeared on the main tactical display. Commander, explain these readings. The precursors engineered our race, Lena transmitted, sending the genetic data. We are guardians, designed to shepherd humanity until they could reclaim this technology. Miller entered the synchronization chamber as Cooper's armor established a direct neural link. Energy fields enveloped the doctor's form as the suit activated, interfacing with her nervous system. Through their shared connection, Cooper detected the suit's specialized medical functions activating. Second operator online, Wang announced. Neural synchronization at 97%. Dr. James Peterson burst into the command center, clutching a quantum analyzer. The power signatures they're appearing globally. Look at these resonance patterns. The holographic displays shifted, highlighting energy emissions at key archaeological sites. Ancient installations awakened beneath the Earth's surface, responding to the primary facility's activation. Massive harvester force detected, Harrison reported, marking tactical overlays. Coordinates match precursor installation in Gobi region. Wang's decryption algorithms processed intercepted harvester communications. They're searching for genetic engineering facilities. Original Jem'Hadar templates. Multiple orbital contacts, Bryant announced. Harvester vessels initiating systematic scan patterns over population centers. The command center's communications array activated as emergency transmissions flooded in from global defense forces. Medical facilities worldwide reported anomalous readings from female patients as the alien scanning technology swept Earth's surface. A secure quantum channel opened, displaying the armored form of Marine Captain Lisa Torres. Her neural patterns registered on the facility's sensors, showing exceptional compatibility with command and control systems. Captain Torres en route with escort units, Harrison confirmed. Harvester forces engaged her team near Rocky Mountain cache site. Cooper's tactical displays highlighted the converging threats: Harvester search operations, extremist Jem'Hadar forces, and the race to activate additional operators. Through her neural interface, she detected the ancient facilities systems continuing their activation sequence, revealing capabilities that would prove essential in the conflicts ahead. The precursor command center pulsed with increasing power as previously dormant sections awakened. Miller's medical sensors registered new genetic markers appearing in the facility's database, identifying potential operators across Earth's population. Ancient defense systems tracked Harvester movements throughout the solar system, awaiting coordinates to engage. Initializing neural interface, Dr. Miller announced, her hands steady on the medical console despite her own armor's persistent feedback signals. Captain Torres stood motionless in the synchronization chamber, surrounded by pulsing energy fields as her suit powered up. Cooper maintained tactical awareness through her armor's enhanced sensors, tracking multiple Harvester units converging on their position. The ancient defense systems responded to her neural commands, precise energy bursts disrupting the machine's quantum cores. Synchronization at 85%, Wang reported. Neural patterns stabilizing. Tor's armor blazed to life, holographic interfaces materializing around her helmeted form. Through their shared neural network, Cooper detected new tactical systems activating advanced strategic analysis protocols that interfaced seamlessly with her own combat systems and Miller's medical suite. Command triangle established, Bryant confirmed, monitoring the data streams. Three-way synchronization exceeding projected parameters. Paul Martinez burst through the command center's security corridor, clutching a tablet displaying orbital defense data. We have a situation. The Harvester ships, they're positioning themselves in a specific geometric pattern around Earth. The holographic displays shifted, showing the precise arrangement of alien vessels. Dr. Romano's analysis algorithms highlighted familiar patterns in their deployment. These match precursor warning logs, Martinez said, overlaying historical data. They're creating a planetary containment field. Chief Wells, what's your status? Harrison called over the tactical network. Sandra Wells' voice crackled through the comm system from deeper within the facility. You need to see this. We've found something in sublevel 20. Cooper's tactical display tracked Wells' team through massive doors that hadn't opened in 50 millennia. The chamber beyond dwarfed their previous discoveries, a cavernous space dominated by a towering form shrouded in ancient construction scaffolding. It's some kind of super-heavy armor unit, Wells transmitted, her engineering sensors scanning the massive prototype. The power systems alone could run a small city. Multiple operator interfaces detected, Bryant added, analyzing the incoming data. This wasn't designed for a single pilot. The facility's alert systems blared as new threats emerged. Commander Lena's scales shifted to combat red as she processed incoming tactical data. Kothvar's forces have breached the Gobi installation's outer defenses, she reported. They're moving directly toward the genetic engineering sectors. Admiral Cordell's image appeared on the main display. My forces are engaging Harvester vessels in low orbit. We've established defensive corridors around all known precursor sites. Cooper watched through the tactical network as Jem'Hadar fighters executed precision strikes against Harvester ships attempting atmospheric entry. The coordination between human and Jem'Hadar units displayed unprecedented effectiveness. The neural link between the three activated suits deepened as the facility's systems compiled their combined data. New holographic overlays appeared, revealing the strategic positioning of the 17 armor caches throughout the solar system. The caches form a defense network, TORs transmitted through their shared interface, each position calculated to provide interlocking fields of fire. Dr. Romano's voice cut through the tactical chatter. The Harvester AI is evolving. Their attack patterns show clear adaptation based on our responses. Cooper's sensors detected the machines shifting their focus, targeting power distribution nodes connected to precursor systems. Ancient defense turrets engaged automatically, but the harvesters had already adjusted their approach vectors to minimize exposure. TOR's armor processed long-range sensor data, projecting a tactical overlay of the outer system. Massive harvester formations moved with clear purpose, their numbers far exceeding initial estimates. This is a full invasion force, TORs transmitted. They're following original conquest protocols. Begin immediate screening of military personnel, Harrison ordered through the command network. Priority on female candidates with compatible neural patterns. Dr. Miller's medical systems compiled data from the successful synchronizations, streamlining the activation protocols. I can reduce integration time by 30%, but we need operators now. Cooper's tactical display highlighted multiple incoming threats, harvester units converging on their position, Kothvar's forces advancing in the Gobi region, and the steady deployment of the orbital containment field. The precursor base thrummed with increasing power as more systems activated, preparing for a conflict that would determine humanity's survival. Through their linked armor systems, Cooper, TORs, and Miller coordinated defensive operations as Harrison deployed security teams to protect the newly discovered prototype suit. The ancient facilities systems continued revealing new capabilities, each activation bringing humanity closer to reclaiming its precursor inheritance if they could hold off the harvesters long enough to fully awaken its power. Cooper's tactical displays tracked multiple sensor contacts as her integrated defense systems established overlapping fields of fire around the precursor facility's perimeter. Through their neural link, she coordinated with Miller and TORs, their synchronized armor suits working in perfect harmony to deploy automated turrets and energy barriers. Defense Grid Online, TORs transmitted through their shared interface, channeling power from auxiliary nodes. Wang's hands flew across his holographic console, analyzing an incoming data stream. Dr. Bryant, these readings from the prototype suit, you need to see this. Bryant moved to the engineering station, studying the complex patterns of interwoven light that represented the massive armor unit's control systems. 5 neural interfaces, arranged in a pentagonal configuration. The precursors designed their equipment for small unit tactics. A priority alert flashed across Cooper's tactical overlay as distant sensors registered weapons fire in the Gobi region. The display shifted, showing Kothvar's forces engaged in brutal close-quarters combat with harvester units. Energy weapons and quantum disruption fields lit up the desert night. Tactical analysis incoming, Commander Lena transmitted, her scales rippling with rapid color shifts as she processed the combat data. The harvester shields they're adapting to repeated weapon impacts. Each subsequent hit from the same energy signature shows diminishing effects. Confirmed, Wang called out. Their quantum matrices reconfigure to resist specific attack patterns. We'll need to vary our offensive capabilities to maintain combat effectiveness. The command center's primary display suddenly shifted as new sensor contacts appeared near lunar orbit. A massive energy signature warped local spacetime, resolving into a vessel that dwarfed anything in Earth's defense fleet. Classification match in precursor database, Romano announced, cross-referencing the ancient records. Designate Cradle of Dawn automated factory vessel. The ship broadcast a complex series of authentication codes that triggered immediate responses from their armor systems. Cooper felt the neural interface expand as new tactical data flooded in detailed schematics for thousands of armor variants, each designed for specific combat roles. Energy spike at coordinates 47 Mark 12, Harrison reported. Harvester forces are withdrawing from surface engagement. Tor's enhanced sensor suite tracked the machine's movements, correlating their new positions with geological data from the precursor archives. They're positioning around the planetary transmission nodes, preparing for resource conversion protocols. Dr. Miller's medical sensors pinged as two new neural patterns registered on the facility's operator detection grid. Lieutenant Sarah Martinez and Captain Jennifer Wade, their compatibility ratings exceed baseline requirements. Initiate emergency transport, Harrison ordered. Security Team Alpha, escort the candidates to synchronization chambers 3 and 4. Bryant's analysis team worked frantically at their stations, compiling data on the harvester's behavioral patterns. The individual units they're receiving commands through a quantum entanglement network. The entire invasion force functions as an extension of a central intelligence. Cooper's tactical systems highlighted the 17 armor cache locations across the solar system, calculating optimal power distribution for a simultaneous activation sequence. The neural link with Miller and Tor's pulsed with increasing data throughput as their armor suits processed the strategic implications. The caches weren't just training centers. Tor's transmitted through their shared interface. They're nodes in a disruption network designed to sever the harvester's collective consciousness. The facility's transport system activated as Martinez and Wade arrived, their neural patterns already synchronizing with the base's operator identification protocols. Through her armor's enhanced sensors, Cooper detected the distinctive quantum signatures of harvester ships continuing to move into position around Earth. The ancient command center thrummed with power as more systems activated, responding to the presence of additional compatible operators. In the lower chamber, the massive prototype armor waited, its 5 neural interfaces pulsing with anticipation as humanity moved closer to reassembling the precursor's defensive strategy. Harvester fleet advancing in attack formation, Wang announced. Time to planetary containment field deployment, 37 minutes. Minutes, Wang corrected himself, eyes locked on the tactical display. Harvester containment field deployment in 37 minutes. The facility's transport system hummed as Lieutenant Martinez and Captain Wade materialized in the arrival chamber. Dr. Miller's medical sensors immediately began scanning their neural patterns, collecting baseline data for the synchronization process. This way, Miller directed, guiding them toward the waiting chambers. We'll need to accelerate the standard protocols. The Cradle of Dawn's massive silhouette dominated the orbital displays as it settled into position above the facility. Automated defense platforms deployed from its hull like mechanical flowers blooming in zero gravity, establishing overlapping fields of fire against approaching threats. Dr. Parker has arrived, Bryant announced as another transport signature registered, directing her to the research labs. Elizabeth Parker strode into the command center, her expression intense as she studied the holographic readouts of harvester unit composition. Her fingers danced across the analysis console, correlating data from multiple specimen scans. These readings, she muttered, enhancing specific segments. The quantum core housing its partially organic. The revelation drew Romano away from his station. Organic components in their power distribution system. More than that, Parker highlighted complex molecular structures in the scan data. These are engineered tissues incorporating genetic material from multiple species, including, she paused, double-checking her analysis, including precursor DNA sequences. In the synchronization chamber, Martinez's armor powered up, holographic interfaces materializing around her. The suit's weapon systems came online, configuring themselves to her neural pattern. Advanced demolitions protocols activated, feeding tactical data about Harvester weak points directly into her combat interface. Synchronization at 90%, Miller reported, monitoring the medical readouts. Neural pattern stability confirmed. Wade's armor activated moments later, electronic warfare suites emerging from dormant states. Her tactical displays filled with encryption protocols and strategic coordination systems that far exceeded standard military capabilities. Cooper felt the neural network expand as Martinez and Wade joined the link. Their combined awareness extended throughout the facility, reaching deeper into previously locked systems. In the massive chamber below, the prototype command armor's 5 neural interfaces pulsed with increasing intensity. Gobi facility breach confirmed, Commander Lena transmitted, her scales flickering with agitation. Kothvar's forces have secured precursor genetic samples. The tactical display shifted to show Harvester units converging on the Gobi installation. Energy weapons fire lit up the desert night as the machines launched a coordinated assault on the facility. Multiple armor units deploying from the Cradle of Dawn, Wang reported, tracking the transport pods. Production systems operating at maximum capacity. Harrison's voice cut through the tactical chatter. Earth Defense Command has established secure corridors to all cache locations. Compatible operator transport begins in 5 minutes. The 5 synchronized pilots moved toward the prototype chamber as Bryant's analysis team compiled data from the activated suits. Holographic maps materialized, showing the full extent of the precursor's solar system defenses, vast underground complexes stretching from Mercury to Saturn's moons. Deep space sensors detecting massive energy signatures beyond Neptune, Romano announced. Harvester main fleet approaching at FTL velocities. Wang's engineering sensors highlighted the geometric pattern of Harvester transmission nodes around the planet. They're tapping into the mantle, he reported. Readings suggest matter conversion protocols initiating. The prototype chamber's massive doors opened as the 5 operators approached. Their combined neural link expanded exponentially, accessing command and control systems that had laid dormant for millennia. Through their shared interface, they received the precursor's full defensive strategy, a coordinated network of armor caches designed to protect not just Earth, but the entire solar system. The Cradle of Dawn's production lines continued manufacturing new suits as transport pods streaked toward cache locations across the system. Each operator's tactical display showed the status of identified candidates being moved to secured facilities, while Harvester ships continued their methodical deployment around Earth. "We need to split up," Tors transmitted through their neural link. Each cache requires an experienced operator to manage activation and training. The prototype armor systems powered up fully, ancient machinery humming with restored energy. Through their combined neural interface, the 5 operators accessed its full capabilities, a command and control platform designed to coordinate the entire precursor defense network. Outside the facility, Harvester units pressed closer while the Cradle of Dawn's automated defenses engaged incoming threats. The race to activate humanity's inheritance had begun. The 5 operators exchanged quick glances through their neural link before moving into action. The prototype chamber systems registered their individual command codes as they prepared to split up across the globe. Neural handshake protocols established, Cooper transmitted, stepping into a waiting transport pod. North American sector coming online. The pod's quantum drive engaged, teleporting her to the primary cache beneath the Rocky Mountains. Miller's medical interface expanded as he materialized at the Asian command node, initiating operator validation sequences. First wave of candidates showing promising neural stability patterns. The Cradle of Dawn's manufacturing bays lit up with precision energy beams as automated assembly lines activated. Wang tracked the production metrics on his engineering display. 20 suits per hour, maintaining optimal quality control parameters. In her genetics lab, Dr. Parker's hands moved rapidly across floating holographic strands of DNA. These tissue samples the harvester adaptation rate exceeds anything in our database. They're not just incorporating genetic material, they're weaponizing it. Her analysis stopped abruptly as new data streamed in from the Gobi region. Through the facility's sensors, they watched Kothvar's modified warriors tear through their own ranks, enhanced muscles and bones visible through rupturing skin as their minds deteriorated. Commander Lena's scales shifted to deep crimson. Historical database match confirmed. The Jem'Hadar have recreated Experiment 847B containment protocols required immediately. The command center shook as 7 massive energy signatures activated simultaneously around the planet. Holographic displays flickered and died as electromagnetic interference saturated the atmosphere. Global communications disrupted, Wang reported, rerouting power to critical systems. Quantum entanglement network holding stable between primary operators. Martinez's tactical feed showed her European cache status as she coordinated with local defense forces. First wave of compatible operators arriving via military transport, initiating accelerated training protocols. Through their shared neural interface, Wade directed operations from the Washington Command Center, correlating real-time data from all active sites. Detecting multiple breach attempts at genetic facility firewalls. Harvester AI probing for vulnerabilities. Admiral Cordell's ships appeared in low orbit, energy weapons blazing as they engaged incoming Harvester vessels. The moderate Jem'Hadar forces established a defensive perimeter around key transport corridors, buying time for operator deployment. Deep Space Array tracking 3 distinct Harvester battle groups, Harrison transmitted through the quantum network. Main fleet maintaining Earth intercept trajectory. Secondary forces moving toward Mars and Venus. Bryant's analysis of the prototype armor's database revealed new schematics on her display. Orbital defense platform specifications located. The Cradle of Dawn can construct these, but will need sustained manufacturing time. Tor's coordinated South American defense grids as her sensors tracked the spreading electromagnetic disruption. Harvester transmission nodes are attempting to isolate each cache site. They're trying to prevent synchronized activation. The quantum link pulsed with urgent data as Cooper's North American sensors detected new threats. Multiple Harvester capital ships on attack vector. They're targeting the Cradle of Dawn's manufacturing facilities. Through their neural connection, the 5 operators shared tactical data and response strategies without need for verbal communication. Their armor suits interface directly with the precursor defense network, enabling simultaneous coordination across multiple combat theaters. Dr. Miller's medical protocols streamed to all active training sites as the first wave of 37 candidates began synchronization procedures. Their neural patterns registered on his display, each one representing another potential armor operator in humanity's expanding defense force. The prototype armor systems continued to reveal new capabilities as its operators pushed the ancient technology to its limits. Each activated cache site strengthened the growing network, building toward the full defensive strategy hidden within the precursor's legacy. Cooper's neural displays flashed red as the first synchronization failures registered across her network. Multiple cache disruptions detected, she transmitted through the quantum link. Sites 7, 12, and 15 reporting critical interference patterns. The holographic readouts at her station pulsed with electromagnetic signatures as she analyzed the disruption sources. Through the neural interface, Complex data streams coalesced into a clear pattern. Each affected cache site lay within a geometric grid formed by active harvester transmission nodes. "They're using their planetary network against us," Cooper transmitted, highlighting the pattern for the other operators. "The nodes are generating localized quantum interference fields. Each cache is being systematically isolated. The facility's transport system, activated as a new arrival, materialized in the research wing. Doctor." Michael Reynolds stepped from the chamber, his tablet already displaying complex magnetic field data. The geophysicist's eyes widened as he studied the facility's sensor readouts. "These cache locations," he said, pulling up a global map overlay. "They're positioned along Earth's magnetic field lines. The precursors integrated their entire network with the planet's natural electromagnetic grid." Dr. Bryant's analysis team immediately began correlating Reynolds' data with their cache activation protocols. "The magnetic field could provide an alternate communication pathway," she transmitted. "One the harvesters can't easily disrupt." Warning signals flashed across Commander Lena's tactical display as new data streamed in from the Gobi facility. The modified warriors' biosigns showed radical changes, their organic structures warping into configurations that mimicked harvester technology. "Genetic failsafe protocols detected," Lena transmitted, her scales shifting through patterns of deep ultraviolet. "The precursor samples were designed to trigger catastrophic mutations if accessed without proper authentication." The Cradle of Dawn's manufacturing metrics dropped sharply as Wang tracked multiple impacts across its orbital resource collection grid. "Harvester forces engaging our Mars mining units," he reported. "Power core production declining. Critical materials at 40% capacity." Through their neural link, Wade's electronic warfare systems penetrated deeper into the harvester command protocols. Complex encryption patterns will-powered into clear command hierarchies centered around powerful queen units. "Found their control structure," Wade transmitted, feeding tactical data to all operators. "Each invasion force answers to a single command unit. Neutralize the queen, and we disable every standard unit in its sector." Dr. Parker's genetics lab hummed with activity as she correlated biological samples with environmental data. "Their biointegration process requires precise conditions," she announced. "Temperature extremes or targeted impulses could temporarily compromise their combat effectiveness." The prototype chambers displays updated as Wang accessed a new section of the precursor database. Schematics for a modified sensor suite appeared, designs specifically configured to detect and track harvester queen units. "We can upgrade the command armor," Wang transmitted, "but we'll need specialized materials from the Cradle of Dawn's production lines." Above the facility, Admiral Cordell's ships executed precise strike patterns against approaching harvester vessels. Modified weapons fire disrupted biomechanical systems, forcing the machines to constantly adapt their defenses. "Implementing Reynolds' magnetic field network," Bryant transmitted as her team worked to reconfigure the cache communication protocols. First test link establishing between Sites 3 and 8. The neural interface pulsed with urgent data as multiple strategic priorities competed for their attention. Cooper coordinated defense grids while Wade's systems probed for queen unit signatures. Martinez directed cache activation teams as Miller monitored neural stability across all sites. Through their shared connection, the 5 operators felt the weight of each passing second. The Harvester main fleet drew closer, its terraforming engines primed to begin Earth's conversion. Their window for implementing the precursor's defensive strategy narrowed with each new challenge. Tor's South American sensors detected the first successful magnetic field transmission between isolated cache sites. "Network bypass confirmed," she transmitted, expanding coverage to remaining locations. The prototype armor systems integrated the new data streams as Reynolds' team refined the magnetic field protocols. Each activated connection strengthened their coordination capabilities, slowly rebuilding the neural network the harvesters had tried to fragment. New candidate group arriving at Training Facility 6, Miller reported, monitoring neural patterns across multiple sites. Accelerated synchronization protocols holding stable. The coordinated neural network between sites wavered as electromagnetic interference saturated the atmosphere. Warning indicators flashed across every operator's display as the harvester transmission nodes activated simultaneously, releasing a massive energy pulse that rippled across the planet's surface. Standard communications failed instantly. Cooper's neural link filled with static as cache sites went dark one by one. Through the interference, Reynolds' specialized magnetic field network maintained a thin thread of connectivity between the operators. Primary networks compromised. Cooper transmitted through the magnetic backup, switching to alternative protocols. Her tactical display highlighted new movement patterns among the harvester ground forces. The machines split into specialized units, bypassing male soldiers while focusing their capture efforts on female military personnel. They've identified the gender correlation, Cooper transmitted, tracking multiple abduction attempts across her sector. All female personnel fall back to secured positions immediately. The Cradle of Dawn's manufacturing metrics stabilized as Dr. Kevin Zhang's voice came through the magnetic channel. The metallurgist's hands moved rapidly across material composition displays, adjusting resource parameters in real time. Modifying production formulas, Zhang reported. Replacing exotic materials with enhanced terrestrial compounds. Output capacity restored to 60%. Commander Lena's scales shifted through rapid color changes as she coordinated containment efforts at the Gobi facility. The mutated warriors moved with unsettling synchronization, their attacks displaying clear tactical coordination. Detecting coherent neural patterns between infected subjects, Lena transmitted, establishing wider quarantine zone. Admiral Cordell's ships adjusted their orbital positions, creating an energy barrier around the facility's perimeter. Additional vessels diverted to containment duty. The infection must not spread. The 5 primary operators activated their armor's experimental resonance systems. Waves of focused energy emanated from their suits, causing nearby harvester units to stagger and malfunction as their biomechanical integration destabilized. Effective range limited to 50 meters, Wade transmitted, maintaining the disruption field while evading concentrated fire from the affected machines. They're adapting quickly. Major Harrison's orbital scans revealed the emerging pattern of harvester ship movements. The vessels locked into precise geometric positions, creating an orbital grid that aligned with Earth's major population centers. Detecting deployment bay activation, Harrison transmitted. They're preparing for simultaneous urban insertion. In her genetics lab, Dr. Parker isolated a pristine sample of precursor DNA. The uncontaminated genetic code displayed complex structural patterns specifically designed to resist harvester integration. The precursors engineered biological countermeasures, Parker transmitted, highlighting key genetic markers. We can replicate these protections for our operators. Wang's breakthrough in synchronization protocols accelerated the activation process at multiple cache sites. Under Martinez's supervision, 12 new operators came online at the European facility, their neural patterns stable and synchronized. Group activation successful, Martinez reported, expanding protocols to remaining sites. The Deep Space Array's alert drew immediate attention as it detected the massive object hidden behind the harvester fleet. Dr. Bryant's analysis confirmed its precursor origin, a dormant defense platform that dwarfed Earth's largest orbital installations. Platform authentication protocols match command armor signatures, Bryant transmitted. Reactivation possible, but requires direct neural interface. At the Gobi facility, Commander Lena studied the readings from the stabilized Jem'Hadar warriors. Their enhanced capabilities suggested new tactical possibilities, even as the process remained dangerously unpredictable. Successful genetic expression detected in subjects 7 and 12, Lena transmitted. Harvester resistance confirmed, but mutation risk remains critical. The 5 operators' neural link pulsed with urgent data as they assessed their options. The defense platform offered a potential advantage, but reaching it meant weakening Earth's protective network at a crucial moment. Through their shared connection, they began coordinating a response to the escalating crisis. Colonel James Davidson burst through the command center doors, his weathered face tight with urgency. "We've got infiltrators." He slapped a data crystal onto the main display table, projecting images of humanoid machines captured at various military installations. "They're targeting our female personnel specifically." Cooper's neural displays highlighted matching signatures across multiple sectors as she integrated the colonel's intel. Confirmed, detecting similar profiles at bases worldwide. Her tactical overlay traced infiltration patterns that converged on facilities with high concentrations of potential operators. Davidson pulled up detailed scans of a deactivated infiltrator unit. "They adapt their outer layers to mimic local personnel. We caught this one when it failed to match normal thermal patterns." He manipulated the holographic display, revealing the machine's complex sensor suite. "They're purpose-built for capturing prime candidates." Dr. Parker's voice cut through the neural link, excitement evident in her tone. "We have a breakthrough." The stable Jem'Hadar mutations aren't random, they're expressing specific precursor gene sequences. Her genetics lab displayed complex molecular structures as she transmitted the data. These modified sequences grant resistance to harvester control signals while preserving cognitive function. Commander Lena's scales rippled with interest as she studied the results. At the Gobi facility, a deactivated armor suit powered up as a modified Jem'Hadar warrior approached. "Partial interface achieved," she transmitted, watching the warrior's neural patterns stabilize. Basic defensive systems responding to control inputs. Wang's analysis programs sifted through newly decrypted armor data, revealing schematics for an enormous orbital installation. "The Solar Sentinel," he transmitted, highlighting the platform's key systems. "It's designed to generate a containment field around the entire solar system." Major Harrison's voice carried an edge of concern as he updated the tactical displays. "The Harvester fleet's formation serves a dual purpose. Their grid pattern will create an energy field capable of negating Earth's magnetic field and our command network with it. Time to optimal positioning," Cooper queried. 48 hours maximum." Dr. Zhang's voice cut through from the cradle of dawn. "Production systems modified to process terrestrial magnetite, shifting mining operations to defended surface locations." Resource allocation displays showed steadily increasing output as the orbital factory adapted to the new material sources. In Europe, Lieutenant Martinez coordinated with her 12 activated operators as they engaged harvester forces across multiple cities. Their synchronized movements created overlapping fields of disruption, forcing the machines to retreat from Paris's outskirts. Similar successes in London and Berlin demonstrated the effectiveness of their group tactics. Harvester capture units targeting modified Jem'Hadar, Admiral Cordell transmitted from orbit. His ship's sensors tracked specialized collection devices deployed against the enhanced warriors. "They seek genetic samples." Dr. Bryant's research team uncovered historical records that cast the invasion in a new light. "The Harvester's original rebellion was triggered by forced organic upgrades," she transmitted, sharing recovered precursor logs. This isn't just an invasion, it's the continuation of their base programming to improve organic life. Cooper coordinated with her fellow operators through their neural link, assessing options. The solar sentinel offered a strategic advantage, but activating it would require 3 operators to leave Earth's defenses. Their connection pulsed with tactical data as they weighed the risks. Davidson's security teams implemented enhanced screening protocols across all major installations. Thermal imaging at all checkpoints, he directed. Randomized genetic sampling for key personnel. No one moves between sectors without verification. Dr. Parker's lab hummed with activity as she analyzed the successful Jem'Hadar modifications. These enhanced sequences suggest human operators could push the armor systems beyond their original specifications. We need more time to fully map the potential. In the European theater, Martinez's operators demonstrated the effectiveness of their coordinated assault patterns. Multiple capture attempts disrupted, she transmitted as her teams drove harvester forces from Berlin's defensive perimeter. Group tactics proving highly effective against standard units. The neural network buzzed with urgent data as Wang completed his analysis of the Solar Sentinel's activation requirements. Platform authentication will require direct neural interface from multiple command operators. No remote activation possible. Harrison's orbital scans tracked the harvester fleet's continuing deployment. Each ship locked into position with precise geometric alignment, their energy grid taking shape with methodical efficiency. The countdown to magnetic field disruption ticked steadily downward as Earth's defenders raced to implement countermeasures against the machine's multi-pronged assault. A priority alert flashed across the neural network as Dr. Marcus Weber strode into the command center, his DARPA credentials clearing multiple security checkpoints. The weapons specialist's analysis filled the main display, showing detailed scans of a disabled harvester unit's internal systems. Their biomechanical integration has a critical weakness, Weber explained, highlighting the machine's thermal regulation system. These external heat sinks can't be protected by their adaptive shields without compromising core functions. Cooper's tactical overlay immediately mapped potential strike points across known harvester formations. Temperature threshold. 800 degrees Celsius triggers cascade failure, Weber responded, manipulating the holographic model. Hit the sinks hard enough, their whole system crashes. The 5 operators' neural link pulsed with updated combat protocols. Cooper directed her strike team toward the nearest orbital grid node, their armor's weapon systems reconfiguring for maximum thermal output. Dr. Miller's medical feeds tracked their neural patterns as they engaged, monitoring for signs of stress under the intense combat maneuvers. Grid node targeting solutions uploaded. Captain Torres transmitted from the command center, her enhanced strategic systems plotting optimal attack vectors, marking approach corridors with minimal exposure to capture units. In the cradle of dawn, Chief Engineer Anderson's arrival accelerated the implementation of Dr. Zhang's magnetite processing modifications. Production displays showed steadily increasing output as Anderson's team brought additional manufacturing lines online. 30 suits per hour, Anderson reported, monitoring the automated assembly systems. Support equipment for synchronization protection launching now. The facility's alert system activated as Major Harrison's security teams intercepted a harvester infiltrator near the genetics lab. Dr. Parker's analysis revealed specialized sampling equipment designed to collect precursor DNA data. Thereafter, the Jem'Hadar modification research, Parker transmitted, examining the captured unit's storage systems, implementing enhanced security protocols around all genetic facilities. Commander Lena supervised as modified Jem'Hadar warriors interfaced with defensive systems, their enhanced biology allowing partial integration with armor support functions. Admiral Cordell's flagship prepared dedicated research spaces, expanding the modification program under secure conditions. Deep space sensors detected new threats as multiple harvester fleets approached from the outer system. The neural network filled with urgent tactical data as Lieutenant Martinez and Captain Wade prepared for their solar sentinel mission. Kuiper belt insertion route plotted, Martinez transmitted, checking her team's specialized long-range equipment. Awaiting final authorization, Dr. Bryant's research team accessed newly decrypted precursor data, revealing the true purpose of Earth's 17 armor caches. The facilities formed points in a massive resonance pattern, designed to generate a planetary defense shield through the planet's magnetic field. Technical displays showed increasing atmospheric disruption as the harvester's orbital grid expanded. Wang's fingers moved rapidly across control surfaces as he implemented emergency protocols, routing power from precursor reactors to maintain coordination between operator teams through quantum channels. Cooper's strike team hit their first grid node with concentrated fire, their weapons generating massive thermal spikes in the harvester's heat regulation systems. The machine's biomechanical components failed catastrophically, creating a gap in the enemy's formation. Two more nodes fell in rapid succession before the harvesters adapted, rerouting power through secondary systems. Dr. Reynolds' modified magnetic field configurations stabilized the precursor network as the partial grid began affecting Earth's natural field. His displays showed temporary success in containing the disruptions, maintaining critical communications between cache sites. Genetic analysis complete, Dr. Parker transmitted, studying patterns in the harvester's sampling attempts. They're targeting specific markers present in both humans and modified Jem'Hadar. Evidence suggests they're attempting to engineer compatible operators of their own. Tor's strategic systems projected accelerated timeline requirements based on the new intelligence. The Harvester's adaptation efforts forced immediate action on both the Solar Sentinel mission and Planetary Defense Network activation. Cooper's team regrouped for another assault on the orbital grid, while Martinez and Wade made final preparations for their critical mission to the Kuiper belt. Colonel Thomas Reed strode into the command center, his orbital defense credentials flashing across the neural network as he interfaced with the tactical displays. Without preamble, he transmitted detailed scans of Harvester fleet movements stretching back 3 months. Their biomechanical systems require cooling cycles, he explained, highlighting thermal pattern data. Grid power fluctuates on a predictable schedule, here and here. His neural inputs marked precise timeframes when sections of the enemy formation dimmed. Cooper's tactical overlay immediately integrated the new data. Optimal strike windows identified, transmitting attack coordinates to all active teams. The command center's displays lit up with departure sequences as Lieutenant Martinez and Captain Wade boarded their modified Jem'Hadar transport. 6 newly synchronized operators followed, their armor systems interfacing with the alien vessel's controls. Neural load increasing, Dr. Miller transmitted, monitoring the remaining operators' vital signs as they absorbed additional network responsibilities, compensating for coverage gap. Cooper felt the strain as her armor drew more power, spreading her awareness across a wider defensive zone. The neural network pulsed with heightened activity as she coordinated with the other primary operators to maintain Earth's protective grid. In the genetics lab, Dr. Parker's displays showed stable DNA sequences as her enhancement protocol took effect on test samples. Synchronization improvements confirmed, she transmitted to Dr. Bryant, ready for expanded trials on compatible tissue types. The facility's alert system activated as Security Chief Foster's infrared scanners detected anomalous heat signatures near the western perimeter. New infiltrator design, he transmitted, marking multiple approaching targets on the tactical overlay. Smaller profile, enhanced thermal masking. Major Harrison security teams moved to intercept, deploying modified sensor arrays. Target 1 neutralized, he reported as precise weapons fire disabled the first stealth unit, confirming kill pattern for remaining hostiles. The Cradle of Dawn's production feeds showed disrupted resource collection as electromagnetic pulses disabled automated mining units. Chief Engineer Anderson's fingers flew across control surfaces, implementing emergency protocols. Redirecting power to reinforced shielding, he transmitted to Dr. Zhang, maintaining production tempo at current levels. Near Mars, Admiral Cordell's fleet engaged Harvester forces in a massive firefight. Modified weapon frequencies targeted exposed heat sinks, causing cascading failures across multiple enemy vessels. The neural network tracked depleting ammunition stores as the battle intensified. Commander Lena supervised as modified Jem'Hadar warriors achieved full integration with defensive turret systems. Their enhanced biology allowed precise control of automated weapons, creating overlapping fields of fire around critical facilities. Cache site defensive capability doubled, she transmitted, monitoring performance metrics. Human operators cleared for offensive priority. Wang's analysis programs identified crucial weaknesses in the Harvester grid's power distribution. His tactical simulations demonstrated how precisely timed strikes could trigger system-wide collapse. Sequential target data uploaded, he transmitted to Cooper's strike teams. Simultaneous attacks required on marked nodes. Dr. Reynolds' magnetic field stabilizers produced unexpected harmonics between cache locations. The precursor network's signal strength increased, cutting through Harvester interference patterns. Enhanced sensor data revealed massive terraforming engines attached to approaching fleet vessels. Main invasion force composition analysis complete, Reynolds transmitted, sharing detailed scans. Updating defensive priorities based on new capabilities. Cooper coordinated with her fellow operators through the enhanced network, preparing for synchronized strikes against the orbital grid. Their armor systems drew additional power as they positioned for the complex attack pattern, pushing heat tolerances to maximum sustainable levels. The neural network buzzed with urgent updates as Martinez's team cleared Earth's atmosphere, accelerating toward their Kuiper Belt objective. Active sensors tracked multiple Harvester pursuit vessels moving to intercept the modified transport. Wang's tactical display highlighted multiple pursuit signatures when Major Gregory Thompson strode into the command center, his neural interface immediately connecting to the analysis grid. Grid power fluctuations follow strict geometric patterns, Thompson transmitted, manipulating the holographic overlay to reveal precise node spacing calculations. Their formation isn't just tactical, it's a power management requirement. Cooper's armor systems process the new data, identifying optimal strike points based on Thompson's analysis, marking vulnerable nodes for simultaneous targeting, she transmitted to her strike teams, synchronizing attack timing with cooling cycles. Modified Jem'Hadar warriors moved into support positions as Cooper coordinated the multipronged assault. Her tactical display tracked thermal readings across the orbital grid, waiting for the telltale temperature drop that signaled the Harvester's cooling phase. Strike window in 15 seconds, Thompson transmitted, monitoring power signatures. Grid sections Charlie through Echo entering thermal regulation. Cooper's enhanced awareness spread across her network teams as they positioned for the synchronized attack. Weapons locked on target heat sinks. Execute on my mark. Concentrated fire erupted from multiple positions, precise thermal strikes overwhelming the exposed cooling systems. Cascading failures rippled through the geometric formation as node after node crashed, their biomechanical components shutting down in rapid succession. In the cradle of dawn, engineering specialist David Carson interfaced with the production control systems, his fingers dancing across thermal management displays. Implementing coolant flow modifications, he transmitted to Anderson. Optimizing heat distribution across manufacturing lines. The facility's output metrics surged as Carson's adjustments took effect. Assembly systems accelerated, maintaining stable temperatures even at increased production speeds. 40 units per hour confirmed, Anderson reported, monitoring the enhanced manufacturing tempo. Dr. Parker's displays flashed with urgent data as her analysis programs detected anomalous patterns in captured harvester tissue samples. "They're adapting to our genetic markers," she transmitted to the research team. "Evolutionary algorithms active in their biological components." The laboratory's secure network filled with updated test results as Parker accelerated her enhancement protocols. Modified DNA sequences took shape on her screens, racing against the harvester's rapid adaptation. Lieutenant Martinez's team detected massive energy signatures near Neptune, their sensors revealing complex quantum communication patterns. "Harvester relay network identified," she transmitted, adjusting course to minimize emissions profile. Captain Wade's tactical systems plotted a careful path through the detection grid, using gravitational interference to mask their approach. Their modified transport stealth systems strained to maintain coverage as they navigated the complex network of quantum nodes. Commander Lena's enhanced warriors demonstrated unprecedented control over precursor defense systems, their modified biology interfacing smoothly with the ancient technology. "Cache Site 7 secured," she transmitted, monitoring their performance. Redirecting human operators to grid assault teams. The command center erupted with activity as deep space monitors detected new energy signatures approaching from Alpha Centauri. Chief Technical Officer Wang's analysis programs processed the massive power readings, identifying harvester patterns at unprecedented scale. Implementing neural load distribution protocols, Dr. Miller transmitted, tracking dangerous fatigue patterns across the operator network. Wang's modifications spread the increasing strain across multiple neural channels, carefully balancing system stability against operator endurance. Analysis specialist Robert Miller's decryption programs revealed strings of harvester command code, exposing their staged invasion strategy. His tactical displays highlighted concentrations of conversion units waiting to deploy once the orbital grid achieved full power. Establishing layered defense patterns, Major Harrison transmitted, coordinating with Admiral Cordell's forces. Their combined units moved in calculated rotations, exploiting known cooling cycles to strike at harvester weak points while minimizing exposure to counterattacks. Cooper's neural feed processed updated tactical data as her teams regrouped for another assault on the orbital grid. Thompson's geometric analysis allowed precise prediction of the next cooling phase, creating opportunities for targeted strikes against the harvester's vulnerable power distribution network. Technical Sergeant Paul Davidson's neural interface pulsed with urgent data as his analysis programs detected unusual patterns in the quantum relay network. His fingers traced complex algorithms across holographic displays, isolating signal frequencies that diverged from known harvester communications. Multiple relay nodes activating near Neptune, he transmitted to the command center. Energy signatures suggest coordination with a massive structure in the Oort cloud. Davidson's screens filled with sensor data as he tracked power fluctuations through the quantum network. Thermal patterns match factory-scale production systems. Cooper's tactical overlay updated with the new intelligence as she coordinated another strike on the orbital grid. Her armor systems processed Thompson's geometric analysis, targeting precise nodes during their cooling phase. Concentrated weapons fire disabled entire sections of the Harvester formation, forcing them to redistribute power through compromised channels. Ground forces withdrawing from conversion sites, Harrison reported, tracking enemy movements through the defensive network. They're reallocating resources to maintain orbital coverage. In the genetics lab, Dr. Parker's displays lit up with successful test results. Her enhancement protocol revealed specific protein markers in the modified Jem'Hadar tissue samples, identifying key components of their neural compatibility. Temporary human enhancement possible, she transmitted to Dr. Miller. Treatment requires specialized materials from the Cradle of Dawn's synthesis labs. Logistics Officer Mark Stevens' transport network activated as validated female operators moved toward their assigned cache sites. Modified Jem'Hadar shuttles wove between orbital defense zones, while military aircraft maintained low-altitude coverage corridors. Stevens' neural feed tracked each transport's progress through the carefully planned routes. Cache Site 9 receiving operators, he transmitted as another group reached their destination. Harvester interference minimal along designated paths. Combat Engineer fosters construction drones deployed around active cache locations, incorporating precursor shielding technology into rapidly assembled defensive structures. His modular fortification system created overlapping protective zones, significantly improving operator survival rates during synchronization attempts. Western perimeter reinforced, Foster reported as another section came online, integrating automated defense turrets with existing coverage patterns. Near Neptune, Lieutenant Martinez's tactical systems highlighted approaching Harvester patrol ships. Her modified transport split from Wade's group, engaging the enemy vessels while their primary team continued toward the precursor platform. The armor suit's power systems strained under deep space combat conditions. Diversion successful, Martinez transmitted as her weapons found vulnerable cooling nodes on the patrol ships. Continuing harassment pattern to maintain pursuit. Dr. Miller's neural monitoring programs detected unusual patterns in active combat operators. The armor suits demonstrated learning behaviors, optimizing neural interfaces based on user thought processes. Efficiency increasing during complex maneuvers, he transmitted to Cooper. Suit adaptation reducing operator strain. Chief Technical Officer Wang's production analysis revealed a critical choice in the Cradle of Dawn's manufacturing priorities. His tactical displays showed potential output increases for anti-harvester weapons, balanced against reduced armor suit production rates. Implementing power redistribution protocols, Chief Engineer Anderson transmitted, adjusting the facility's energy grid, maintaining balanced production ratios across critical systems. Combat data streamed in from urban defense zones as Commander Lena's enhanced warriors protected civilian evacuation routes. The modified Jem'Hadar demonstrated precise target discrimination, eliminating Harvester ground forces while minimizing collateral damage. Their performance validated the effectiveness of Dr. Parker's enhancement protocols. Deep space sensors detected new energy signatures approaching the solar sentinel platform. The pattern matched ancient records of precursor defense drones, adding complexity to Wade's mission profile. His tactical systems tracked multiple autonomous units moving to intercept their transport. Unknown contacts closing from multiple vectors, Wade transmitted, analyzing the ancient security measures. Adjusting approach pattern to minimize profile exposure. Cooper coordinated with her strike teams as they prepared for another assault on the orbital grid. Her tactical overlay integrated Thompson's power distribution analysis with Davidson's relay network data, identifying critical nodes that would disrupt both the Harvester's cooling systems and their quantum communications. Communications grid. Her neural interface processed rapid updates as combat systems analyst Timothy Reeves' data streamed into the tactical network. Harvester attack patterns show clear mathematical progression, Reeves transmitted, his analysis programs highlighting predictable enemy responses. They're cataloging our combat behaviors, building response matrices for each engagement type. Cooper adjusted her strike team formations, implementing randomized approach vectors that deviated from established tactics. The armor suit's neural networks adapted to the new protocols, maintaining coordination while avoiding repetitive attack patterns. Near Neptune, Martinez's Diversionary team detected multiple contacts emerging from the planet's shadow. Ancient precursor drones activated weapon systems, their energy signatures matching the distinctive profile of armor suit technology. Reading quantum authentication requests, Wade transmitted, analyzing the incoming signals. His tactical systems isolated familiar patterns buried within the drone's command protocols. Their recognition codes match our armor's baseline frequency. Authentication signals pulsed from the modified transport's communications array. The precursor drones adjusted their approach vectors, weapon systems powering down as they fell into escort formation around Wade's vessels. Emergency alerts flooded the tactical network as Harvester ground units established conversion sites in major population centers. Foster's construction drones deployed prefabricated barrier sections, creating armored corridors for civilian evacuation. Modified Jem'Hadar warriors coordinated with local defense forces, protecting transport columns from Harvester infiltration units. Western evacuation route secured, Foster transmitted as another modular fortification came online. 200,000 civilians clear of the conversion zone. In the cradle of dawn, materials specialist John Tucker's fingers moved across molecular assembly controls, implementing new production algorithms. The facility's manufacturing metrics surged as his enhanced protocols took effect, parallel assembly lines maintaining both armor suit and weapon production at peak efficiency. Output optimization confirmed, Anderson transmitted, monitoring the improved production rates. Maintaining balanced manufacturing priorities across all systems. Dr. Parker's analysis programs highlighted disturbing patterns in captured Harvester tissue samples. Biomechanical components showed clear signs of human genetic markers integrated into their core system's architecture. They're developing hybrid interface capacity, she transmitted to the research team. Accelerating enhancement protocol implementation to maintain our tactical advantage. Cooper's strike teams executed their assault on the orbital grid's primary node cluster. Thompson's geometric analysis guided precision strikes, while Davidson's relay network data revealed critical power distribution junctions. Concentrated weapons fire overwhelmed cooling systems across multiple grid sections. 30% of grid power distribution disabled, Cooper transmitted as cascading failures spread through the network. Her tactical display tracked adaptive changes in the remaining sections, power flow patterns shifting to compensate for the damage. Wang's deep space monitoring systems detected new quantum signatures in the Uit cloud region. The energy patterns matched ancient records of dormant precursor platforms, similar to the solar sentinel installation. Additional defense networks detected, Wang transmitted to command. Signature patterns suggest automated response capabilities. Dr. Miller's neural monitoring programs tracked unprecedented developments in operator combat performance. Tactical data flowed between synchronized armor units, creating an emergent battlefield network that enhanced team coordination. Neural link efficiency increasing, Miller transmitted, analyzing the improved response metrics. Suits are developing autonomous data-sharing protocols. Analysis specialist Miller's decryption programs revealed new details in captured Harvester command code. His displays highlighted quantum entanglement patterns connecting multiple conversion sites across the planet. "They're establishing a coordinated resource extraction network," he transmitted, mapping the connection points. "Each site functions as a node in their planetary processing grid." Security consultant Ryan Peters' analysis programs identified patterns in Harvester ground force deployments. Their infiltration units concentrated along major fault lines, establishing sensor networks to monitor geological activity. "They're mapping potential seismic trigger points," Peters transmitted as his tactical display tracked enemy movement patterns. "Establishing security teams at critical geological formations." Deep space sensors detected massive power signatures as the Harvester factory ship emerged from its hiding place. Automated construction units deployed from its massive hull, spreading outward to establish production facilities within the solar system. Cooper's tactical network filled with updated mission priorities as Earth Defense Command processed the new threat. Her strike teams regrouped for another assault on the orbital grid, implementing randomized attack patterns based on Reeves' analysis. The armor suit's enhanced neural network maintained precise coordination as they moved to exploit the damaged sections of the Harvester power distribution system. A new alert flashed across Cooper's tactical display as Defense Systems engineer Marcus Blackwood's quantum analysis data streamed into the combat network. His findings highlighted specific vulnerabilities in Harvester relay nodes, correlating electromagnetic patterns from the armor suits with disruptions in enemy communications. "Implementing frequency modulation protocols," Cooper transmitted, adjusting her strike team's weapon configurations. Their enhanced neural interfaces adapted to the modified attack patterns, targeting Harvester nodes during peak transmission cycles. Blackwood's data visualization matrix tracked cascading failures through enemy formations as coordinated electromagnetic pulses severed their quantum links. Isolated Harvester units defaulted to basic combat routines, their movements becoming predictable without central coordination. At Cache Site 7, Commander Lena observed improved combat efficiency as her modified Jem'Hadar warriors synchronized with armor operators. Dr. Miller's neural pattern analysis enabled precise coordination during complex maneuvers, their enhanced reflexes complementing the suit's advanced targeting systems. "Integration protocols optimized," Miller transmitted, monitoring the hybrid strike team's performance metrics. Combined arms efficiency increased by 40%. Captain Wade's transport approached the Solar Sentinel's outer defense grid, surrounded by activated precursor drones. His tactical systems identified automated manufacturing centers within the ancient station, their power signatures indicating dormant weapon production capacity. "Multiple security checkpoints detected," Wade transmitted as his team navigated the platform's approach vectors. Harvester forces converging from polar orbits. In the Cradle of Dawn's primary fabrication center, Chief Engineer Anderson's displays lit up with newly discovered precursor manufacturing data. "Implementing enhanced production protocols," he transmitted to Tucker. Their combined expertise translated ancient techniques into modern fabrication processes, creating more resilient armor components while reducing power requirements. Dr. Parker's genetic research stations processed detailed scans of captured Harvester biomechanical components. Her analysis revealed critical environmental parameters required for their hybrid unit stability. "Transmitting electromagnetic disruption frequencies," she sent to Cooper's tactical network. "Target these wavelengths to destabilize enhanced Harvester forces." Deep space monitoring stations tracked massive resource extraction operations as the Harvester factory ship deployed mining units throughout the Kuiper Belt. Major Harrison coordinated with Admiral Cordell's fleet elements, establishing defensive screens at key orbital positions. Intercepting automated harvesters in Sector 4, Harrison transmitted, directing precision strikes against enemy resource collectors. Maintaining containment protocols around primary extraction zones. Combat Systems Analyst Reeves' surface scans detected systematic harvester drilling operations along major fault lines. His tactical modeling software revealed a growing network of underground power distribution nodes, expanding beneath multiple continents. Subterranean grid extends through these coordinates, Reeves transmitted, highlighting critical junctions in the facility's tactical display. Foster's construction drones immediately began modifying their fortification designs, incorporating downward-facing sensor arrays and defensive emplacements. Cache site defenses updated, Foster reported as new barrier sections came online, detecting tunneling attempts at multiple locations. Analysis specialist Miller's decryption programs identified distinct command signatures within the approaching harvester fleet. His displays tracked multiple Queen units operating independently, each controlling separate battle groups through distributed neural networks. Modifying detection protocols, Wang transmitted as he adjusted the facility's sensor arrays. Isolating individual Queen signatures for targeted interdiction. The UIT Cloud Monitoring Station's quantum sensors mapped a massive precursor installation hidden among the distant cometary bodies. Wang's analysis confirmed its agricultural capabilities, the ancient facility's automated systems waiting in standby mode. Cooper coordinated another strike on the orbital grid as her armor teams implemented Blackwood's targeting data. Their weapons synchronized with specific electromagnetic frequencies, disrupting harvester communications during precision attacks on power distribution nodes. The machine's formations fractured without central coordination, creating exploitable gaps in their defensive coverage. Conversion Site 12 neutralized, Cooper transmitted as her strike team disabled another processing center, moving to secondary targets while communication disruption holds. The research facility's tactical displays updated with new mission priorities as Earth's defenders adapted to the evolving battlefield. Cache site operators coordinated with their Jem'Hadar partners, establishing efficient combat rotations that maximized their enhanced capabilities. Dr. Miller's neural monitoring programs tracked unprecedented improvements in team performance as human and modified alien warriors learned to complement each other's strengths. Combat Engineer Foster's modified defense systems detected new tunneling patterns beneath active cache locations. His automated turrets adjusted their firing solutions to cover subterranean approach vectors, while reinforced barrier sections extended below ground level to block harvester infiltration attempts. Underground sensor grid online, Foster transmitted as another cache site's defenses adapted to the subsurface threat, tracking multiple drilling units in Sector 7. Multiple drilling signatures approaching Sector 7, Foster transmitted, tracking the subterranean threats on his enhanced sensor grid. His defensive systems engaged automatically, precision strikes neutralizing the harvester tunneling units before they could breach the perimeter. The facility's command center lit up with new data as Dr. James Sullivan arrived from MIT's Advanced Research Division. His quantum analysis programs immediately integrated with the tactical network, complex interference patterns appearing across the main display. These resonance frequencies match our armor signatures, Sullivan transmitted, highlighting specific sections of the harvester relay network. We can use the suits to generate localized disruption fields. Cooper's tactical display updated with the new data. Strike teams implement frequency modifications according to Sullivan's protocols, she transmitted. Her armor operators synchronized their systems, coordinated electromagnetic pulses rippling through the harvester network. Commander Lena's modified Jem'Hadar warriors moved in precise formation alongside the human strike teams. Their enhanced combat reflexes allowed them to exploit gaps in Harvester defenses as the machines lost coordination with their orbital command centers. Conversion Site Beta 7 neutralized, Cooper transmitted as her teams disabled another processing facility, moving to secondary targets while disruption effect holds. In orbit, Captain Wade's transport approached the Solar Sentinel's main access port. Lieutenant Martinez's defensive screen engaged incoming Harvester units, precursor drones moving to intercept the attackers. Perimeter established, Martinez transmitted as his teams held position around the ancient station. Access window confirmed for primary control systems. Inside the Cradle of Dawn, alert signals flashed across engineering displays. Anderson's screens showed multiple Harvester units converging on the facility's resource processing sector. Implementing emergency production protocols, Tucker transmitted, his fingers flying across manufacturing controls. Assembly lines reconfigured in seconds, shifting from ammunition fabrication to defensive system production. Dr. Parker analyzed new test results from her genetic research station. Enhancement protocol stabilization confirmed, she transmitted to the medical team. Neural synchronization efficiency increased by 40% in volunteer subjects. Deep space monitoring stations tracked massive construction operations near Pluto. Miller's detection systems identified distinct command signatures emerging from the Harvester factory ship. Multiple Queen units detected, Miller transmitted, his displays showing the machines establishing new manufacturing sites throughout the Kuiper Belt. Production capacity approaching critical threshold. Wang's analysis of the Uit Cloud facility revealed specialized fabrication systems. His screens displayed complex biomechanical manufacturing capabilities, correlating with Sullivan's quantum data. Agricultural installation contains counteragent production capacity, Wang transmitted to command. Ancient systems show compatibility with current enhancement protocols. Commander Lena observed her modified warriors resisting direct control attempts from nearby Queen units. The enhanced soldiers maintained combat coherence despite intense signal broadcasts from Harvester command nodes. Genetic modifications provide signal immunity, Dr. Parker transmitted, analyzing the Jem'Hadar's response patterns. Implementing similar protective measures for human operators. Combat engineer Foster's seismic sensors detected new tunneling patterns around multiple cache sites. His automated defense grid engaged the threats, precision strikes eliminating Harvester drilling units before they could breach facility perimeters. Underground defense network holding, Foster transmitted as another attack wave failed. Implementing enhanced monitoring protocols at all cache locations. Cooper coordinated simultaneous strikes against relay nodes across 3 continents. Her tactical display showed cascading failures through the Harvester network as armored teams executed Sullivan's disruption protocols. Target Charlie 9 disabled, Cooper transmitted as another conversion site went dark, moving to exploit network gaps while Queens re-established control. Miller's analysis programs highlighted the Harvester's adaptive response. His screens showed autonomous control nodes appearing at active conversion sites, creating independent command structures resistant to disruption tactics. Queens implementing distributed control protocols, Miller transmitted as his systems tracked the changing patterns. Adjusting strike team targeting priorities to counter new command architecture. New signal patterns detected, Miller transmitted as his screens highlighted emerging command structures. Queens are establishing physical links to autonomous nodes. Nathan Rhodes strode into the command center, his electromagnetic warfare interface already connecting to the facility's tactical network. The former Navy SEALs analysis programs immediately began processing Queen unit protocols, revealing distinct energy signatures emanating from biomechanical tendrils. Those connections are their weakness, Rhodes transmitted, highlighting specific frequencies across Miller's display. The tendrils maintain direct control over local command nodes, disrupt those links and their distributed network fails. Dr. Sullivan's hands moved across his research station as he integrated Rhodes' data, modifying pulse generator specifications now. Cooper, your strike teams will need these upgrades. Lieutenant Cooper's armor units assembled in the maintenance bay as technical crews installed Sullivan's enhanced pulse devices. The modified weapons hummed with carefully calibrated electromagnetic frequencies. Strike teams, synchronize pulse timing to these parameters, Cooper transmitted, sharing targeting solutions optimized for Queen unit tendril disruption. Her joint human Jem'Hadar teams moved through the European sector, their enhanced systems identifying the geometric patterns of autonomous node placement. Inside the Solar Sentinel, Captain Wade accessed ancient manufacturing controls. Dormant assembly lines activated, drawing massive power as they began producing specialized munitions. Production initiated, Wade transmitted. Martinez, we need that perimeter secured. Multiple harvester vessels incoming. Lieutenant Martinez's defensive screen engaged the approaching ships, precursor drones moving to intercept, establishing transport corridor coverage. Get those weapons moving. In the Cradle of Dawn, Anderson's engineering team reconfigured production lines for Parker's enhancement protocol. Stabilization compound synthesis online, he transmitted as clear fluid-filled storage tanks. Beginning operator treatment processing. New recruits cycled through the medical bay, receiving neural stabilizers before attempting armor synchronization. Dr. Miller's monitoring systems tracked dramatically reduced rejection rates as enhanced operators connected with their suits. Neural integration success rate up 60%, Miller transmitted, his displays showing improved synchronization patterns across all active teams. Admiral Cordell's fleet emerged from FTL near the Kuiper Belt mining operations. Modified Jem'Hadar weapons struck harvester extraction units, their calibrated energy beams overwhelming heat dissipation systems. Multiple mining platforms neutralized, Cordell transmitted as his ships executed precision strikes. Factory ship defenses exceeding predicted capabilities, adjusting attack vectors. The factory ship's point defense grid activated, revealing previously undetected weapon emplacements. Concentrated energy beams forced Cordell's vessels to adopt evasive patterns, limiting their ability to press the attack. Combat Engineer Foster's underground sensor network lit up with multiple contact signatures. Tunneling units detected at cache sites 3, 7, and 12, he transmitted. Automated defense systems engaged immediately, precision strikes eliminating subterranean threats before they breached facility perimeters. Technical Sergeant Davidson's quantum analysis programs mapped node positioning requirements across active conversion sites. Transmitting geometric vulnerability data, he sent to Cooper's tactical network. Target these coordinates to maximize pulse effectiveness. Cooper's strike teams implemented Davidson's attack patterns, their enhanced pulse generators disrupting Queen unit control tendrils at precisely calculated positions. 3 conversion sites went dark as their autonomous nodes lost connection to central command. Confirmed shutdown of sites Echo 3 through 5, Cooper transmitted as her team secured the disabled facilities. Queen's unable to reestablish control while pulse interference maintains. Dr. Miller's medical station registered unexpected data from resting operators. Neural interfaces maintaining partial connectivity during crew rotation, he transmitted, adjusting monitoring parameters. Implementing optimized deployment schedule to maximize sustained operations. Chief Technical Officer Wang's decryption programs revealed new data about the Uit cloud facility. Ancient manufacturing systems capable of producing targeted biomechanical disruptors, he transmitted to command. Installation could provide counteragents against harvester adaptation protocols. Admiral Cordell reviewed the tactical implications, dividing fleet elements for simultaneous operations, priority targets, factory ship containment, mining site interdiction, and Uit cloud facility seizure. Analysis specialist Miller's screens displayed the full scope of the harvester conversion network. Each active site pulsed with data transfers, forming nodes in an expanding planetary computation grid. Queen units attempting to establish global integration network, Miller transmitted as his systems tracked the growing pattern. Each new conversion site accelerates their progress toward full planetary transformation. Technical crews rushed to equip additional strike teams with enhanced pulse generators as Cooper coordinated the next wave of attacks against identified conversion sites. The modified Jem'Hadar warriors moved into position alongside their human partners, ready to exploit the weaknesses in the Queen's command structure. Dr. Michael Barrett stepped through the facility's main entrance, his tablet displaying complex isotope decay patterns. The nuclear systems engineer's arrival from Los Alamos drew immediate attention as he connected his device to the command center's primary display. Their biomechanical systems exhibit unique vulnerabilities, Barrett explained, highlighting specific radiation signatures. These isotope combinations trigger cascade failures in their organic components without causing widespread contamination. Cooper studied the data, her tactical systems already calculating delivery parameters. Technical teams begin weapons modification according to Barrett's specifications, priority on radiation containment systems. In the armory, crews installed specialized delivery modules on strike team weapons. The modified units hummed with carefully regulated energy as Cooper's operators conducted preliminary tests. Containment field stability confirmed, the lead technician transmitted. Targeting systems calibrated for organic decay acceleration. Cooper led her strike teams toward 2 conversion sites in the North American sector. The enhanced weapons performed exactly as Barrett predicted. Harvester biomechanical systems destabilized on contact, while radiation remained precisely contained within the target zones. Conversion site Delta 3 neutralized, Cooper transmitted as organic components broke down. Moving to secondary target, containment readings stable. The Solar Sentinel's defense grid activated as 3 Queen units broke from the main fleet. Captain Wade's screens lit up with weapon signatures as ancient targeting systems acquired multiple contacts. Platform defenses engaging, Wade transmitted. Martinez, maintain those transport corridors. We need these weapons planetside. The precursor station's automated turrets tracked incoming vessels with impossible precision. Energy beams lanced through space, forcing harvester ships into defensive patterns, while Martinez's team secured vital supply routes. Deep beneath the surface, Foster's seismic sensors detected new quantum conduits linking conversion sites. Miller's decryption revealed the full scope of the Harvester's plan, a planetary computational network that could override Earth's magnetic field. Deploying modified disruptors, Foster transmitted. His systems precisely calculated fault line stress patterns as the devices severed underground connections without compromising cache site structural integrity. Sarah Miller arrived at the Cradle of Dawn, her quantum metallurgy expertise immediately put to use. The materials research director's fingers flew across production controls as she implemented new molecular alignment protocols. Incorporating high-energy particle interfaces, Miller transmitted to Anderson. Armor plating density increased by 60% with minimal mass gain. The enhanced armor demonstrated unprecedented resilience during conversion site assaults. Operators reported sustained functionality even under direct exposure to harvester energy weapons, their survival rates climbing steadily. Dr. Parker's genetic lab buzzed with activity as new tissue samples revealed emerging signal resistance. Neural adaptation increasing with each synchronization cycle, she transmitted, adjusting operator rotation schedules to optimize the effect. Deep space sensors detected harvester construction ships in the asteroid belt. The machines converted captured rocks into automated factories, their production capacity growing exponentially. Redirecting fleet elements to contain expansion, Admiral Cradle transmitted. His ships executed precision strikes against partially completed facilities while maintaining critical defense lanes. Davidson's quantum analysis programs mapped increasing instability in the Queen unit's command network. Their competing control signals generated interference patterns that Cooper's teams exploited with surgical precision. Queen Unit 7 isolated, Cooper transmitted as her strike teams severed communication links, implementing targeted elimination protocols while control disruption holds. The mission to secure the precursor agricultural facility gained urgency as harvester scouts approached. Modified Jem'Hadar vessels escorted human operators through contested space, while Commander Lena's enhanced warriors secured the perimeter. Dr. Miller's monitoring systems highlighted anomalous neural patterns in operators using the improved armor. The enhanced plating created unexpectedly powerful defensive fields, though the increased protection strained power cores. Adjusting suit energy distribution, Miller transmitted as operators engaged harvester forces, maintaining optimal field strength while preserving core functionality. Power core stability. A harsh alert tone cut through the command center as Dr. Victor Hammond burst through the doors, his tablet displaying complex quantum tunneling diagrams. "We have 18 hours," Hammond announced, connecting his device to the main display. The CERN physicists' data showed an intricate web of quantum connections spreading between harvester conversion sites. Their network is approaching critical mass. At 60% coverage, they'll gain the ability to manipulate Earth's magnetic field. Cooper's tactical display updated with Hammond's sensor data. Technical teams reconfigure pulse generators for quantum disruption. Priority targets are these subterranean connection points. Strike teams moved through underground access tunnels, their modified EMP devices calibrated to Hammond specifications. The first coordinated strike severed quantum links between 3 major nodes, causing cascading failures across the local network. Proximity alerts blared as Queen units detected the disruption. 2 massive vessels broke from their orbital positions, descending toward the strike team locations. Inside the solar sentinel, ancient systems hummed to life. Captain Wade accessed deeper control levels, activating the platform's primary weapon systems. Massive containment field projectors began drawing power, their energy signatures immediately attracting harvester attention. Multiple capital ships on intercept, Martinez transmitted. His defense screen expanded as precursor drones formed intricate geometric patterns, establishing layered coverage. Wade, how long until those projectors reach operational power? The Cradle of Dawn shuddered as autonomous manufacturing platforms launched from the Harvester factory ship. Anderson's fingers flew across production controls, while Sarah Miller implemented emergency defensive protocols. Redirecting power to critical manufacturing lines, Anderson transmitted. Outer resource collectors showing damage, but main production continues. Dr. Parker rushed into the genetics lab, neural tissue samples displaying unprecedented properties. "Look at this reaction pattern," she directed Dr. Barrett, highlighting cellular changes. The enhanced operator samples generated localized disruption fields that degraded nearby harvester biomechanical components. Barrett's radiation sensors detected specific isotope interactions. We can replicate this effect through controlled exposure, beginning treatment protocol design. Analysis specialist Miller's underground monitoring network lit up with new alerts. Multiple tunneling signatures converging on fault lines, he transmitted to Major Harrison. Pattern suggests coordinated seismic attack. Combat Engineer Foster deployed reinforced stabilization units around cache site foundations. Geometric bracing active, he transmitted as Davidson's reconfigured sensors tracked approaching harvester units. At the agricultural facility perimeter, Commander Lena's enhanced Jem'Hadar warriors engaged 3 Queen units that had broken through Cordal's defensive screen. Energy weapons fire filled the air as human operators sprinted for the main control center. Begin activation sequence, Lena transmitted as his warriors held the line. We'll maintain containment until production initiates. Deep space sensors detected massive energy signatures as the main harvester fleet accelerated inward. The enormous armada split into 3 distinct battle groups, their trajectories targeting Earth, Mars, and the asteroid belt. In the medical bay, Dr. Miller's monitoring systems highlighted dangerous neural feedback patterns in active operators. The enhanced armor's defensive fields created increasing interface instability during extended combat. Implementing power distribution adjustments, Wang transmitted, his modifications allowing operators to maintain combat effectiveness despite the neural fluctuations. Earth Defense Command's strategic display updated with Hammond's countdown timer. Cooper coordinated with conventional military units to exploit the split harvester forces while strike teams continued targeting the quantum network nodes. The next few hours would determine humanity's survival, as resources stretched thin across multiple critical objectives. Martinez's defense screen flared as another wave of harvester ships pressed their attack on the solar sentinel. The ancient platform's weapon systems continued their power-up sequence, each surge drawing more enemy forces toward their position. When Marcus Miller sprinted into the command center, his quantum analysis pad projecting complex data streams across the air. The DARPA specialist connected directly to the main systems, his fingers racing across virtual interfaces. I've identified the network's critical junctions, Miller announced, highlighting 7 pulsing nodes on the tactical display. These points form the backbone of their quantum tunneling grid. Take them out in this precise sequence, we collapse their entire planetary network. Cooper's tactical systems integrated Miller's data, calculating optimal strike patterns. All armor teams converge on designated coordinates. Precision strikes only, we can't risk damaging the surrounding infrastructure. The containment field generators of the solar sentinel surged to full power. Captain Wade's controls lit up as ancient systems projected a massive energy barrier into space, cutting off a large segment of the approaching harvester fleet. Barrier holding at 90%, Wade transmitted. Martinez, those supply corridors are yours. Martinez's defense teams moved swiftly, establishing protected lanes through the containment field. Transport ships rushed through the gaps, ferrying vital weapon shipments to Earth's surface while automated turrets kept harvester forces at bay. In the medical bay, Dr. Parker studied neural readings from the enhanced operators with growing excitement. The tissue samples show unprecedented adaptation rates. Interface synchronization has improved by 40%. Wang's systems detected the corresponding power drain, core energy consumption climbing, he transmitted, redirecting manufacturing priority to enhanced power cells. The Cradle of Dawn's production lines shifted focus as Anderson implemented the changes. New power cores rolled off the assembly lines, their enhanced capacity supporting the operators' improved neural connections. Commander Lena's voice cut through the command channel as the agricultural facilities systems reached full activation. Production initiated. First batch of counteragents ready for transport. Admiral Cordell's ships moved into escort formation. Supply route secured, beginning delivery to Cradle of Dawn Manufacturing Center. Cooper's armor teams struck the first quantum node, their weapons precisely calibrated to Hammond specifications. The structure collapsed in a cascade of failing energy patterns, sending shockwaves through the harvester network. Node 1 neutralized, Cooper transmitted. Moving to second target, maintain strike sequence exactly as specified. Foster's sensors screamed warnings as harvester tunneling units breached cache site defenses. His reinforced bracing systems activated automatically, preserving structural integrity as the machines targeted specific geological formations. Detection grid shows pattern correlation, Foster transmitted to Harrison. They're attempting to amplify seismic effects through the fault lines. Harrison redirected his modified Jem'Hadar forces to the vulnerable positions. The enhanced warriors established defensive zones around critical geological points, while Cooper's teams continued their precision strikes against the quantum network. The Harvester Factory ship's manufacturing platforms activated, launching waves of newly designed combat units. Anderson studied their configurations through long-range sensors, his production systems already adapting. New hostile variants detected, he transmitted, implementing countermeasures in current armor production runs. Sarah Miller's fingers flew across material control interfaces, adjusting molecular alignment patterns to counter the emerging threats. Enhanced armor plates integrated smoothly with existing suit designs as the Cradle of Dawn's production accelerated. Dr. Barrett's radiation monitoring systems tracked the effectiveness of their targeted weapons. Isotope dispersal contained within designated zones. Conversion site organic components showing rapid deterioration. Miller's decryption programs identified command patterns in the approaching fleet. 17 Queen units detected, coordinating through autonomous nodes. Targeting priority based on network influence. Cooper's tactical systems highlighted the two most connected queens. Her strike teams adjusted their assault patterns, focusing precision attacks on the primary command nodes. The destruction of these targets sent cascading failures through the Harvester coordination network. Davidson's quantum sensors detected increasing signal interference as the remaining queens attempted to compensate. Control signal conflicts detected in sectors 7 through 12, biomechanical systems showing localized failures. The armor teams exploited these vulnerabilities, securing critical orbital positions, while Wade's containment field kept the main harvester fleet divided. Martinez's defense screens flared continuously as his teams maintained the vital supply corridors through the ancient barrier. The Solar Sentinel's weapon systems continued drawing power, their energy signature growing stronger as Wade accessed deeper control systems. New alert patterns flashed across his displays as the platform's most powerful weapons approached activation threshold. The Solar Sentinel's weapon systems pulsed with ancient power when Dr. Thomas Reese rushed onto the command deck, his electromagnetic analysis systems projecting detailed quantum frequency patterns across the air. The DARPA specialist's eyes locked onto the tactical displays as he connected his equipment. These tunneling signatures, Reese indicated, highlighting specific waveforms. The cache sites generate matching frequencies. We can use their output to destabilize the entire network. Cooper's tactical systems integrated the new data. Harrison, begin power redistribution to cache site generators. Foster, status on structural integrity. Reinforcement grid active, Foster transmitted. Geometric bracing can handle the feedback loads. The first coordinated electromagnetic pulse rippled through the ground, perfectly matching the frequencies Reese identified. Harvester quantum tunnels flickered and destabilized as the wave passed through their connection points. "Node disruption confirmed," Davidson reported, his sensors tracking the cascade effect. Tunneling grid showing 17% degradation. Wade's fingers moved across the solar sentinel's ancient control surfaces. Secondary weapon systems activated, revealing a network of dormant satellites scattered throughout the solar system. Martinez, connecting you to orbital platform controls. Martinez's defense screens expanded as the hidden installations powered up. New containment fields snapped into place, cutting off large sections of the approaching harvester fleet. Supply corridors remaining stable, expanding coverage to sectors 12 through 20. Inside the Cradle of Dawn, Dr. Eric Stanley calibrated quantum material synthesizers while Anderson implemented his modified production protocols. Enhanced armor rolled off the assembly lines, each suit incorporating integrated pulse generators tuned to Reese's frequency specifications. New armor capabilities verified, Anderson transmitted as his systems monitored the output. Pulse generation stable at 97% efficiency. Miller's decryption programs highlighted increasing interference patterns between active Queen units. Command signal conflicts detected. Their autonomous control structure is destabilizing. Cooper directed her strike teams toward the vulnerable nodes. Target these connection points. Multiple simultaneous strikes while their network is compromised. In the medical bay, Dr. Parker examined neural tissue readings with Dr. Reese. The quantum disruption effect matches harvester communication frequencies perfectly. Implementing enhanced treatment protocol. Wang's systems detected power signatures beneath the Pacific Ocean. Located precursor installation network. Major manufacturing capacity, but accessing it risks disrupting our current pulse operations. The agricultural facility's automated systems hummed as Commander Lena activated newly discovered production lines. Swarms of microdrones emerged, their systems specifically designed to disable harvester biomechanical components. Drone production stable, Lena transmitted, while Cordell's ships maintained defensive positions. First wave deploying to nearby conversion sites. Harrison's sensors tracked harvester tunneling units as they shifted position. New geometric pattern detected. They're attempting to establish resonance with our pulse network. Adjusting reinforcement grid, Foster transmitted, his systems compensating for the changing stress patterns. Structural integrity holding at 85%. Deep space sensors detected massive production surges from the harvester factory ship. New combat units launched, their shields specifically designed to resist electromagnetic disruption. Accelerating enhancement protocol implementation, Dr. Parker announced as her systems processed the latest neural samples. Integration with new armor production begins in 17 minutes. Cooper coordinated strike team movements as the quantum tunneling grid continued to degrade. Each precision attack eliminated another node, while the cache sites maintained their electromagnetic pulse coverage. The harvester network dissolved connection by connection, their unsunified planetary computing grid fragmenting under the sustained assault. The command center's displays flickered as Dr. Richard Maxwell burst through the doors, his quantum analysis systems already interfacing with the facility's networks. The Lawrence Livermore specialist's eyes locked onto the electromagnetic pulse data streaming across multiple screens. These disruption patterns, Maxwell indicated, highlighting specific waveform clusters. The cache sites generate matching interference signatures. If we synchronize multiple locations, the effect multiplies exponentially. Cooper's tactical systems process the new data. All strike teams prepare for coordinated pulse activation. Foster, strengthen those structural supports. Foster's engineering crews deployed additional reinforcement units. Geometric bracing enhanced, ready for increased power loads. The first synchronized electromagnetic burst rippled through 3 continents simultaneously. Harvester quantum tunnels collapsed as overlapping disruption fields tore through their connection points. Isolated enemy units stumbled, their links to Queen coordination suddenly severed. Tunnel network degradation at 6 to 3%, Davidson transmitted, his sensors tracking the cascade effect. Detection grid shows multiple hostile units losing command cohesion. On the Solar Sentinel's command deck, Wade's fingers activated previously dormant manufacturing systems. Ancient machinery hummed to life, producing specialized devices targeted at disrupting Queen biomechanical interfaces. Martinez, redirecting power from secondary barriers to support production, Wade transmitted. Maintain critical containment sections only. Inside the Cradle of Dawn, Anderson studied the latest prototype data from Dr. Stanley and Dr. Parker, implementing combined enhancement protocols. New armor designs integrate genetic stabilization directly into disruption field generators. The orbital factory's production lines accelerated as enhanced operators received upgraded suits, eliminating the need for separate medical procedures. Combat teams deployed immediately, their improved systems maintaining constant anti-harvester frequencies. Miller's analysis programs highlighted orbital patterns in the factory's ship's movements. Primary manufacturing platforms require specific alignment for optimal output, transmitting vulnerability windows to Admiral Cradle. Cradle's modified vessels struck precisely during exposed production cycles. Precision weapons fire disabled multiple automated assembly units, reducing the enemy's ability to field new combat machines. Davidson's sensor grid detected power signatures beneath the Pacific, located additional precursor facilities. Subsea installation network extends through multiple ocean basins. Foster's underwater teams access the hidden complexes, activating ancient power generation systems. The electromagnetic pulse network surged with newfound energy as oceanic amplifiers came online. Disruption field strength increased by 200%, Wang transmitted while studying the combined data. Ocean currents act as natural wave guides when properly energized. In the agricultural facility, Commander Lena accessed newly discovered production systems, initiating enhanced countermeasure synthesis. Defensive drone swarms providing coverage for supply corridors. Dr. Miller monitored neural patterns as operators generated synchronized disruption fields. Detection of improved stability in enhanced tissue samples, implementing modified combat rotation schedule. Deep space sensors tracked the Harvester fleet's movements as it split into smaller battle groups. Enemy vessels probed the edges of Earth's expanding defense network, searching for gaps between active cache locations. Multiple hostile formations detected in sectors 3 through 9, Martinez transmitted from his defense screens, adjusting containment field coverage to compensate. Cooper coordinated strike team deployments to counter the enemy's revised tactics. Enhanced operators moved swiftly between cache sites, maintaining critical sections of the disruption grid, while eliminating isolated harvester units caught in electromagnetic dead zones. The Solar Sentinel's anti-Queen weapon production accelerated as Wade balanced power requirements between manufacturing and defense systems. Each new device targeted specific frequencies in the biomechanical command structure, further degrading the enemy's ability to coordinate large-scale operations. Anderson's improved armor rolled off the Cradle of Dawn's assembly lines, each suit incorporating both offensive and defensive capabilities. The orbital factory's enhanced output allowed Earth Defense Command to field additional teams, strengthening their position across multiple engagement zones. Wang's sensors detected increasing stress patterns in the oceanic power grid. Subsea installation network approaching maximum safe output, adjusting wave harmonics to prevent cascade overload. Power redistribution required, Wang transmitted, shifting output through secondary nodes to maintain grid stability. Colonel David Hayworth strode onto the command deck, his Air Force Research Laboratory equipment already interfacing with the facility's systems. Data streams filled the air as his analysis programs integrated with the electromagnetic pulse network. Your oceanic power readings align perfectly with my hybrid weapon calculations, Hayworth said, highlighting specific waveform patterns. The agricultural facility's biomechanical countermeasures can piggyback on these frequencies. Cooper studied the new data. Show me deployment zones for maximum coverage. Hayworth's tactical display highlighted key positions around major harvester conversion centers. Each hybrid generator creates overlapping fields. The combined effect degrades both quantum and organic systems simultaneously. Commander Lena's enhanced Jem'Hadar warriors moved into position as armor teams established the first hybrid deployment sites. The modified soldiers' enhanced reflexes proved crucial as they intercepted harvester units attempting to breach the defensive perimeter. North American Queen units showing signal degradation, Davidson transmitted. Quantum tunneling attempts failing at connection points. Inside the Solar Sentinel, Wade accessed newly discovered production modules. Ancient machinery activated, manufacturing specialized power cells designed to sustain multiple systems simultaneously. Martinez, routing enhanced power supplies to orbital platforms, Wade transmitted. Containment field strength increasing by 40%. The trapped harvester battle groups pressed against the strengthened barriers while defense satellites maintained weapons lock. Energy readings spiked as the enhanced power cells activated across the orbital network. Anderson's fingers flew across the cradle of Dawn's production controls, integrating Hayworth's hybrid technology into the armor manufacturing process. New disruption field generators coming online. Miller, status on enhanced plating composition. Material stress tolerance exceeding projections, Miller transmitted. Implementing revised specifications now. The first modified suits deployed immediately, their built-in hybrid systems creating protective corridors for civilian evacuation operations. Harvester units recoiled from the combined electromagnetic and biomechanical interference. Deep space sensors flashed urgent alerts. The massive harvester factory ship's engines fired, beginning its repositioning burn toward the asteroid belt. Multiple mineral extraction signatures detected, Wang reported. They're targeting high-density resource clusters. Admiral Cordell's vessels moved into attack formation. Solar Sentinel weapons locked, initiating coordinated strike. Precision fire from the precursor weapon platforms struck the factory ship's propulsion systems. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull as manufacturing modules lost power. Target mobility reduced by 60%, Davidson transmitted. Current trajectory places it between Mars and Jupiter orbital paths. Foster's engineering teams activated another subsea installation, adding its output to the growing network. Pacific Basin coverage expanding, pulse synchronization at optimal levels. The hemispheric disruption field solidified as 7 underwater facilities maintained precise frequency coordination. Harvester quantum signals fragmented, leaving their units isolated across the entire region. Dr. Parker studied neural interface readings from operators using the hybrid systems. Enhanced tissue samples showing increased resistance patterns. Miller, correlating medical data now. Neural stability confirmed, Miller transmitted. Implementing modified deployment schedules for conversion site operations. Parker's enhanced protocols allowed strike teams to penetrate deeper into harvester-controlled zones. The hybrid disruption fields prevented enemy units from coordinating effective responses, while operators maintained aggressive push into secured territories. Manufacturing platform quantum signatures destabilizing, Davidson reported as his modified pulse network targeted the crucial production links. Queen unit control over automated systems dropping. Commander Lena directed her enhanced warriors through precise attack patterns. The Jem'Hadar's genetically augmented capabilities proved devastating when combined with hybrid weapon effects. Defensive perimeter expanding, Lena transmitted. Generator sites secured against hostile incursion. Wang's sensors detected new energy patterns from the Harvester fleet. Multiple Queen units adjusting position. Energy output suggests preparation for coordinated assault. Subsea installation activation accelerated, Foster transmitted. Atlantic Basin facilities coming online in sequence. The research team's hybrid weapon strategy forced the machines to commit increasingly precious resources to each attempted breach. Earth's defensive network grew stronger as Cooper coordinated the combined human-alien forces, methodically expanding their control, while the stranded factory ship drifted helplessly through space. Through the asteroid belt. Wang's sensors tracked the factory ship's erratic trajectory when Dr. Marcus Thorne stepped onto the command deck, his Oak Ridge National Laboratory credentials already authenticating with the facility's systems. Your hybrid weapons data aligns perfectly with my isotope research findings, Thorne said, interfacing his analysis programs with Colonel Hayworth's tactical display. Specific radioactive signatures create cascading disruptions in Harvester biomechanical systems while leaving precursor tech untouched. Cooper studied the new information. Foster, can you modify the subsea installations to accommodate these isotope enhancements? Implementing changes now, Foster transmitted. Radiation-hardened pulse generators coming online in Pacific Sectors 3 through 7. The enhanced electromagnetic field spread through ocean currents, creating expanding zones of anti-harvester energy. Conversion sites along coastal regions flickered and died as the modified pulses tore through their quantum matrices. Inside the solar sentinel, Wade's fingers activated dormant quaternary systems. Ancient machinery hummed with newfound power as quantum amplification networks extended Earth's disruption field beyond the atmosphere. Martinez, detecting exponential increase in pulse effectiveness, Wade transmitted. Harvester fleet communications degrading across all frequencies. Anderson's production lines accelerated as Dr. Thorne's isotope-enhanced systems integrated with the Cradle of Dawn's manufacturing processes. Enhanced armor suits rolled off the assembly line, each capable of generating localized fields matching Earth's expanded defense network. Material composition exceeding stability parameters, Miller transmitted while studying the enhanced suits. Operator protection against radiation effects at optimal levels. Admiral Cordell's modified vessels detected structural weaknesses in the stranded factory ship's defensive screen. Multiple breach points identified. Solar Sentinel weapons locked on priority targets. Combat teams in radiation-hardened armor prepared for boarding operations as precision fire from Cordell's fleet created entry points across the massive vessel's hull. Manufacturing data remained their primary objective. Miller's analysis programs decrypted intercepted harvester communications. Detection of synchronized suicide protocols in approaching Queen units. They intend to overwhelm our pulse generators through mass detonation. Reinforcing critical installations, Harrison transmitted. Redirecting defensive resources to protect primary generator sites. Commander Lena accessed newly discovered production systems in the agricultural facility. Enhanced radiation shielding compounds synthesized. Distribution to population centers beginning through secure corridors. Dr. Parker's neural interface readings showed complete resistance patterns in enhanced operator tissue samples. Biomechanical infection attempts failing across all test scenarios. Strike teams cleared for deep penetration missions. Davidson's quantum relay network detected cascading failures throughout the harvester command structure. Autonomous control nodes losing cohesion. Multiple coordination centers exposed for precision strikes. Atlantic Basin installations activated. Wang transmitted as subsea facilities powered up in sequence. Hemisphere-spanning disruption field achieving full coverage. Strike team corridors secured for counteroffensive operations. The combined human precursor defense system reached maximum operational status. Enhanced operators moved through protected zones as the Harvester main fleet approached, their radiation-hardened suits maintaining constant disruption fields between active pulse generators. Queen unit signatures detected in orbital approach vectors, Martinez transmitted from his defense screens. Multiple hostile formations accelerating toward generator sites. Cooper coordinated strike team deployments through the expanding web of electromagnetic protection. The moment for direct confrontation with the Harvester fleet drew closer as Earth's defenders prepared to leverage their newfound advantages. Manufacturing platform structural integrity failing, Davidson reported as Cordell's vessels maintained precision fire. Boarding corridors stabilized for ground team insertion. The Solar Sentinel's enhanced weapon systems targeted exposed sections of the factory ship, while combat teams accessed its interior. Ancient quantum amplifiers ensured their radiation-hardened fields would penetrate deep into the massive vessel's core systems. Davidson's monitoring screens flashed red as 17 distinct signatures appeared in high orbit. Multiple Queen units detected. All remaining Harvester command nodes moving into attack formation. Coordinated assault pattern, Wang transmitted. They're targeting our primary pulse generators. Cooper's tactical display highlighted the approaching threats as he accessed secure channels to Dr. Thorne and Colonel Hayworth. Initiate synchronized pulse protocols. Channel all power through the Solar Sentinel's amplification network. Quantum matrices aligned, Wade reported from the ancient platform's control center. Amplification systems at full capacity. Outside the Solar Sentinel, waves of Harvester assault craft emerged from quantum tunnels. Commander Lena's enhanced warriors engaged the hostile units, their modified weapons creating zones of electromagnetic interference around the platform's critical systems. Deploying defensive screen, Martinez transmitted. The platform's automated drones activated in sequence, forming a spherical barrier of overlapping fields. Energy signatures rippled across their protective network as Harvester weapons impacted the enhanced shields. Anderson's voice cut through the tactical channel. Emergency production protocols activated at Cradle of Dawn. Miller, confirm radiation hardening parameters. Power cell specifications locked, Miller transmitted. First batch ready for deployment to generator sites. Enhanced operators moved through secured corridors, their immunity to Harvester interference allowing precise coordination of power cell distribution. Harrison's defense teams maintained protective screens around the transport routes, while civilian shelters received the latest shielding compounds. The massive factory ships' remaining fighter squadrons launched from their bays, accelerating toward Earth. Admiral Cordell's vessels intercepted the hostile craft near Mars orbit, their isotope-enhanced weapons creating expanding fields of destruction. 3 Queen units breaking formation, Davidson reported. Vector indicates direct approach to Solar Sentinel platform. Foster's subsea monitoring systems showed all installations operating at peak efficiency. Power flows stable through quantum conduits, ready for synchronized pulse activation. The Queen unit's desperate charge revealed their vulnerability. Biomechanical components in their command nodes started degrading under the combined electromagnetic and radiological assault. Initiating final sequence, Wade transmitted from the Solar Sentinel's control center. Ancient machinery hummed as power from every active installation orbital platforms, ground-based generators, and subsea facilities fed into the quantum amplification network. The pulse expanded outward in a perfect sphere of energy, enhanced by Dr. Thorne's isotope configurations. Harvester quantum tunneling networks collapsed as both their communication systems and biomechanical components failed simultaneously. Command protocols offline, Miller transmitted while studying the sensor data. Conversion site integration processes permanently disrupted. The factory ship's lights flickered and died, its massive hull now a derelict shell floating between Mars and Jupiter. Harrison's defensive grid detected the collapse of subterranean harvester operations as their tunneling units lost power and coordination. Cooper led the final assault against the defenseless Queen units, his armor teams moving with precision through the enhanced disruption fields. Commander Lena's Jem'Hadar warriors eliminated any harvester units attempting emergency repairs or reactivation. Factory ship secured, Admiral Cradle transmitted as his technical teams accessed the vessel's database. Beginning data retrieval operations. The Solar Sentinel's defensive screen remained active, maintaining the protective field around Earth while enhanced operators began systematic cleanup operations. Inside the platform's control center, Wade monitored the power flow through the amplification network as Dr. Parker's medical teams analyzed tissue samples from exposed personnel. All subsea installations stable, Foster reported. Quantum conduit integrity at optimal levels. The Cradle of Dawn's manufacturing lines shifted focus, producing systems essential for recovery operations as Anderson integrated new production protocols. Technical teams in radiation-hardened suits moved through disabled conversion sites, securing harvester technology for analysis, while the agricultural facilities' enhanced compounds protected them from residual contamination. Davidson's quantum monitoring systems tracked the expanding defensive field. No active harvester signatures detected within sensor range, maintaining full coverage of Earth orbital space. The Solar Sentinel's ancient systems continued channeling power through its amplification network, the combined human precursor defenses creating an impenetrable barrier against any future incursion as recovery operations expanded across the planet's surface.